USA Women's Tennis in this exciting match, April 15th and 16th.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm Christine Lisi. Right now, Major League Baseball and the Players Association continue their labor negotiations with the 5 Eastern deadline for a new CBA looming. Even if the league and PA make enough progress to get a new labor deal done, end the lockout, and prevent the cancellation of games, one group of players will be negatively impacted in a big way because a number of teams have already decided to cut back on free agent spending, explains ESPN's Buster Olney.
The middle class of players, they are going to get destroyed. Supply and demand are going to work against the likes of, relief pitchers, first baseman, maybe Anthony Rizzo, where they're not going to get nearly the deals that they may have otherwise expected. And guess what? That's only going to feed into the anger of the players, which is already high.
Buster on Greene with Mike Greenberg. Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy revealed today at the NFL Combine that quarterback Dak Prescott had surgery this offseason to clean up his non-throwing shoulder. The team is not concerned about the injury, expects him to be ready to fully take part in OTAs.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, 2 men, 1 journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit.
Let's go!
Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. As always, we are live in the Ingles Studio. I'm Tank Spencer. Jeremy Greene is alongside. Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app and seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to sportsocracy.com. Click on the live video link. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. You can watch us each and every afternoon.
And tomorrow, that will be your only way to watch us. It won't be live, but there's something happened today that has inspired me to correct some wrongs.
Okay.
And we'll do that in our time slot tomorrow.
All right, good deal. More on that coming up later on in the program. We'll get into that at the top of the 4 o'clock hour, as well as talk about that could be a rule change. All you people that lost your minds after that division round playoff game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, you may get your wish. We may have a change to the overtime rules. We'll talk about that in the 4 o'clock hour, as well as be joined by the commissioner of the Southern Conference, Jim Schaus. Going to be on the program with us. Great interview. Love this guy.
Oh, he's a wonderful guy.
Oh, absolutely. And, a lot of history with the Southern Conference as well. His dad was actually a coach for West Virginia way back in the day, coached Jerry West when they were in the Southern Conference. But Jim Schaus, commissioner of the Southern Conference, will be joining us this afternoon right around 4:25. We'll talk to him about, of course, the Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships coming up at the Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville. It all starts on Thursday. We will have, of course, coverage for you of that coming up on these here airwaves all weekend long. We will have probably every game on the Saturday slate. It all depends on what UNC Asheville does in the Big South tournament. But we will have Saturday full, bell-to-bell coverage of the SoCon tournament and the men's basketball quarterfinals, semifinal Sunday. We'll have both of those games for you here on our iHeart Media Asheville stations, ESPN Asheville, and on News Radio 570 WWBNC. And, of course, you can go to the Southern Conference tournament on us. tickets. We've got family 4-packs, 2 more to give away today. And so just keep listening for your chance to win those tickets. If you don't win the tickets, you can buy your tickets online at SoConHoops.com. And, of course, our good friends from Ingles will have the Ingles Fan Zone set up. You can go out there, hang out, grab swag from your favorite Southern Conference team. The mascots will be going around. There'll be interactive games. There'll be a giant TV screen that you can play video games on. They got it all in the Ingles Fan Zone right there in the lobby, the Jan Davis lobby of the Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville. And, of course, they have more going into the Thomas Wolfe Auditorium. Going to be a great setup for the Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships. And let's talk about Ja Morant to start off the program.
I don't think I have ever seen more ridiculous overreaction to one dunk in my life.
Now, come on. This is a good thing. It's a good thing that people are finally starting to come around to my side that Ja Morant should have been the number 1 overall pick in his draft class over Zion Williamson.
In every argument, there is somebody that is wrong and there's somebody that's right. And you just so happen to really be dedicated to being on the former side of that.
I have absolutely loved Ja Morant since his junior year at Murray State. This kid was setting the world on fire in the OVC, and then he comes to the NBA, and he is just as good, if not better. I mean, skill-wise, he's better.
Who ended his college career? Oh, yeah.
What was that, Florida State?
Florida State Seminoles.
Ja Morant, though, putting on a show last night, 52 points, and the dunk over 7-footer Jakob Poeltl that just destroyed the internet. And not only that, the dunk's getting a lot of play, but what I don't think is getting enough play is the buzzer-beating shot that he hit at the end of the first half. Going into halftime, Steven Adams, by the way, if you need a quarterback in the NFL, maybe Steven Adams, he might be the best weapon you've ever had.
He's got a pretty good arm.
He's got a pretty good arm, and also at 7 foot tall, he would not have any problems like Kyler Murray. He'd be able to see over the offensive line really well, diagnose the plays. I don't know, but he threw a dime, full court to the corner. Ja Morant catches it midair, spins, throws it in, and it was, he said it after the game, like, I will probably never be able to hit a shot like that again in my career. It was one of the most fantastic shots I've ever seen. Had it been an actual buzzer beater to win a game, it'd be the greatest shot in NBA history.
The kid's incredibly talented.
Yes.
And I've heard varying opinions today. Colin Cowherd, who's going to get a little love on this show because he said 2 really stupid things today. The first one is comparing Ja Morant to John Wall and Russell Westbrook. That's not who this kid is. Where he gets dinged is he's not a great point guard. Mm-hmm. He's a great playmaker. And in the history of the NBA, there's never really been a guy like that was overly successful. As a point guard, you have to be who disperses the ball and team basketball and things like that. Here's the thing. The league's changing. If Russell Westbrook was a rookie right now, I would be much less down on him than I was when he came into the league.
Okay.
It's just a different league now. I look at Ja and go, you know what? This is the guy that's 7th in the NBA in points. He's 4th in the NBA in per. And this Memphis team is a lot of fun to watch.
Yes, they are.
But they have one problem.
What's that?
Name me the team that has ever played like this that's won a title.
No,
they play insanely fast.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get into the playoffs, that gets to be a problem.
So you're saying...
Because there's such a little turnaround. It's Phoenix Suns all over again.
I was getting ready to say that.
The game has changed. We're not quite to the point of, yeah, I think that's going to win titles. I love Ja. But what got us talking this morning was what you said about he should have been the number 1 pick over Zion Williamson.
100%, not even close.
And this is what's so unbelievably stupid and overreactionary to me. In the draft with Zion, 30 NBA teams out of 30 would have taken Zion ahead of Ja. And I would argue if everything was equal, no injuries, no Zion's a little tubby, none of those things, I would still take Zion ahead of Ja. To this day, I would still do it. And I think every NBA team would probably do the same.
And they might.
The problem is that you'll never see that.
No.
Because you do have the weight issues. You have the games he's missed.
That's the problem. That's the number 1 problem for me. Because I had these concerns with Zion when he was at Duke. that, yes, he's a freak of nature. Yes, he's super powerful. Yes, he can jump out of the gym. And I even defended his shot sometimes, which is awful, right? Zion Williamson does not have a shot.
No, he has one shot. Dunk.
Well,
hey, look what I can do. I am 6'7", and I'll be honest with you, I've met Zion. If he's 6'7", so am I, because we looked eye to eye with each other.
He has. I think I remember us arguing about Zion and his capabilities. I mean, he has the ability to hit mid-range jumpers. He has the ability to hit long-range shots. He just, obviously, the best way for him to score is to get to the basket, and he doesn't do it very often. But to me, I always had the concern that Zion's weight, his body build, he's too powerful. We worry about big guys and their knees holding out, and we worry about, I won't say overweight, I'll say hefty guys, bulky guys in the NBA. We worry about back issues with them as they get older, all of this. I've had these concerns with him since Duke.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing, is that I feel like people have this revisionist history that there's never been a player with weight issues that was any good.
Right.
One of them is arguably the face of the NBA. Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
It's the most known face in the NBA, not named LeBron James.
The round mound of rebound.
And it's so comical to me, because since we did a topic on Zion a couple weeks ago, and I've had a lot of, there's no team in the NBA that would give up any kind of capital for him.
Oh, yeah,
they would.
Of course there is.
Yeah, they would.
But would they be taking a major risk doing it?
No.
Absolutely.
No. If you put Ja in New Orleans and Zion in Memphis, I think it would look vaguely similar to exactly what you're saying right now.
You think Ja Morant would be doing the same thing of, okay, so...
No. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is I think we would be talking about Zion Williamson as the best player under 25 in the NBA because that team fits him better. Ja, the problem with him, he would go to New Orleans. What else are you worried about? Name me who on that team you're really scared of.
Well, I mean, Brandon Ingram.
Who can't really shoot. So, okay, great. I've got a guard and another guard in a forward's body, and neither one of them can shoot.
Right.
Tremendous. That's the problem with Zion. He looks at this team and goes, no.
Mm-hmm. Which to me is a flaw. To me, it's a flaw.
I've never said it's not a flaw.
Okay.
I'm saying that we have gone through every list of young players in the NBA. To me, Ja and Luka Doncic are 1A and 1B.
Yes.
And for me, Zion Williamson's still 3.
He's not for me.
He's still 3.
He's not for me because I cannot get over the facts that we know. The facts that we know, he's already struggled with injuries. He's, struggling right now with an injury. Like if you don't believe any of the conspiracy theory, I guess it's to say, of he's not really hurt. He's just playing this injury up.
No, he's overweight
because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be in New Orleans anymore. I know there's a lot of that goes on, and I'm not saying that's the case. I'm saying that's how a lot of people feel, that Zion doesn't want to be there anymore. This stuff came out in the offseason, so of course he's going to use the excuse of I'm too overweight, I've re-injured myself, or I'm going to have a second surgery, or what, just biding his time until he gets out like Anthony Davis did.
I fully believe that if at the trade deadline, the New Orleans Pelicans had said, you know what, we're done with it, and shipped Zion out, he'd already be on the floor right now.
Okay.
I have not had one soul tell me that, but I fully believe it.
Okay, so there you go. So according to you, maybe there's some truth to the conspiracy theories here that Zion's not giving it his all.
Well, you also have to remember, how many years did I spend in Greenville? Where did Zion play in high school?
Right.
At Spartanburg Day.
Right.
We know some of the same people. I've never heard one of these things about him.
Mm-hmm.
Not one.
Mm-hmm.
And so he goes to New Orleans, and all of a sudden he's lazy and doesn't want to play, and he's not a team player.
Right.
Or maybe this thing that I have said, and I've said this with the NFL draft, I do limited coverage with the NBA draft, I've said that too. It very much matters where you go. And I heard somebody say this morning, and I had never heard this before. Do you know what changed in Memphis?
What changed?
Memphis was an also-ran franchise forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, it was just Ja. No. Do you know who the owner of the Memphis Grizzlies is?
I mean, I think Justin Timberlake's part of the ownership group.
He's 0.2% of a percent or something.
I don't know.
The guy's name's Robert Parra.
Okay.
He is the founder of Ubiquity Networks.
Ubiquity.
He was the poorest owner in the NBA when he bought this team.
Okay.
And then this thing happened. His company exploded. And now he's on the Forbes top 50 richest Americans list.
Right.
And it's weird how when that happens, the team got better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Ja has nothing to do with it. I'm saying I think people put their fingers in their ears and act like other things don't happen.
Right.
I love Ja, and I'm not trying to slight him at all. He's very electric. To me, he's one of the most consumable products in the NBA.
Yes.
But this thought of, Ja should have gone one over Zion. I will be honest with you, and I've asked this question. What would have happened if somebody had done that? The response I got in large was the GM wouldn't have made it out of the building.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't have even given him a plane ride home. It'd have been like, you figure out how you get there. And how have we changed this much in 2 years? This is a point where still the end of the day hasn't done anything.
Because
He's done
we've seen
nothing.
what Zion has done.
Oh, you mean be fourth in the NBA in per?
Stop that.
He's played one season. He was fourth in the NBA in per. You know who was ahead of him? LeBron or Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
And yet somehow he's just a bum. And I've heard this all day, and it might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Compared to Ja Morant? Absolutely, he's a
If
bum.
you told me right now, and I'll be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
I'll 100% honest with you. If you told me right now I could trade Ja Morant for Zion Williamson, and I know what the effort level is going to be, I'd do it 100 times out of 100. I wouldn't think about it.
And you know what the effort level is going to be. What does that mean?
I know he's bought in. Because right now he's a little, I mean, I'm not sitting here telling you that the kid doesn't have flaws.
Right.
I'm saying in the course of 2 calendar years, he's gone from a generational talent to, we should have taken Ja over him. In spite of the fact Ja's won one playoff game that was not really even a playoff game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the play-in game.
Yeah, you do realize he's done nothing, right? And look, this team's very good. You're also underselling how good that team is. There are 8 guys that play for the Memphis Grizzlies that would be the second best player for the New Orleans Pelicans.
Sure.
Right now. Brandon Clark, who can barely get run, would be the star of the New Orleans Pelicans.
Mm-hmm. Jaren Jackson,
And you
Desmond
don't think
Bane,
that a kid that,
we get it.
And you talk about the reservations you had with Zion.
Yes.
How many of them were not about his body?
None of them.
Exactly.
None of them.
Exactly. This is a kid that knows he does not have long in the NBA because he's not built that way.
Mm-hmm.
He's not 6'11". He's a really electric wing that's built like a power forward, and he's not power forward sized. Why in the world would I trot out there with this G League roster knowing that? Get me out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the conversation today would be much different.
So I have
This is not a slight at Ja.
No,
This is
no.
I'm dumbfounded at how many people have just jumped ship on Zion.
I get what you're saying, but again, there's a reason that we jumped ship on Zion. It's because how many games has he played? What'd you say? Is 71? He's played
71. Played 61 last year. Played 10 his first year in the league.
Yeah, 71 games in now 3 seasons in the NBA. And I don't care. I don't care that you don't want to play with New Orleans. That shows me what you're all about. That shows me that you're all about number one, and I don't want you to be a part of my team. So
name me the player in the NBA
owner,
that's not.
I understand that.
See, that's revisionist history to me.
Of course it is. That's what we're talking about.
You do realize the face of this league just came out in the middle of a season and said, whoever drafts my kid, that's where I'm going to play.
Oh, yeah.
And you're sitting here telling me that, but Zion Williamson's me first. Really?
Yeah.
You cannot say those two things sentence to sentence and not understand how blissfully stupid it is. That's how every player in this league is. It's just one of them's playing with a G League team, and the other 29 have legitimate franchises.
I never said that LeBron James wasn't a me first kind of guy. I mean, that's been his entire thing, right? It's been for him all about chasing Jordan. It's all about chasing the championships. Leaving Cleveland to go to Miami, build the super team, and then, guess what? Cleveland's got a super team now, so let me go back to Cleveland and win a title there. Let me go to the LA Lakers and try to build a super team there, win a championship. Guess what? I did. That's awesome. All I'm saying with Zion is that should be a major red flag for everybody in a front office to go, do I really want to hitch my wagon to a guy who so far in 3 years has been oft injured or
twice
refuses to play for his team? Either way, it's all of the concerns that I had about him coming in. And
he's
again,
he's been injured twice.
outside.
One of them was an injury he had when he got drafted. And the second one may or may not be an injury. He may have a strained oblique from how many things have gone into his face.
But again, and see, I guess this is where you and I just our brains don't link up on this. You don't look at that as that's a warning sign of the effort that he will give me. If he doesn't start liking how things go in L.A., wherever he ends up, if he doesn't like it, then he's just going to quit.
Because you undersell how bad this is. That's the part of this that's always really bothered me. I'm on the way out here, I'm going to say a line that, and I can't disclose who told this to me, but it's somebody that's had interactions with 4 sitting presidents. I'm going to use the same line he gave me about stars in the NBA.
Okay.
If you met every president, knew nothing of them, you just took your 10-minute interaction with them, you'd never vote for anyone ever, because every one of them has personality flaws. If in the NBA you're trying to build a bunch of spunky little go-getters, you can have Thomas Satoransky and Alex Caruso and all of that. You have all those guys you want. You give me Zion. You're selling shares of Zion, I'll buy them all. And based off the comment section of our YouTube stream, everybody is, and that's fine. I'm telling you right now, there is a team in this league that's going to go, you know what? It's really hard to find generational talents. We universally thought Zion was that. And we thought Ja was too. Ja was very good. He was just a step below. You didn't know if he would ever be able to lead and be the number one player on a championship team. You still don't know that, by the way. He's won one playoff game. Stop.
I get it. But we have way more faith in him being able to do that now than I think we do in Zion. As a populace, I know you don't.
I don't.
I know you don't.
I know that I've seen him for almost one full NBA season. He took a team that I'm going to be nice and say is dysfunctional. If I was being not nice, I would say they make the Sacramento Kings look like the New England Patriots. Yep. But tomato. And in that, he was the 4th most efficient player in the NBA.
Yeah.
And if I'm any team in the league, I'm looking at what's in the draft this year, what was in it last year. Look at Cade Cunningham in Detroit. Speaking of which, if you like money, stay tuned to the last of this hour. I will give you something with Cade Cunningham that will make you all the dollars. And I still would take Zion.
Okay. All right.
If I was building a top 25 or a top 10 list, which we did, and we'll get into that after the break.
Yep.
I can't have Zion any lower than 3.
On the way out here, we'll answer this question. It was asked by our good friend David Smith of Armchair Commentary. Check him out. Podcast, awesome. Does a great job. Anyway, Armchair says in the comments, is Zion still a generational player? Yes or no, Jeremy?
I'm going to say yes, and after the break, I'm going to prove it.
All right. Here's my answer. As much shade as I've thrown his way, absolutely. There's no question he still can be a generational player in this league. Is it going to be a gamble if you pick him up? Sure. We'll do the top 25, under 25 in the NBA when we come back from the break here on ESPN Asheville. But as we head into it, you want to go to the Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships starting this Thursday through Sunday. 4-pack of tickets right now. Just give me a call at 225-4988. 225-4988. You want a 4-pack of tickets to the Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships. You use it for any of the sessions except for the championship session on Monday night when the men will play for the title. Call us right now at 225-4988.
This is your Exergent Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, an uphill climb to the numbers and some beautiful early March weather unfolding for the Carolinas. High pressure in charge. It's not until the weekend that we bring the cloud cover back into our forecast. Low tonight, 34. Sunshine Wednesday, high 68. We're up into the 70s for Thursday. And then increasing clouds Friday night and for the weekend with some clouds in and out of the forecast, 60s and 70s this weekend. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. When you need a taco, you need a taco. Try the new Cantina Crispy Chicken Taco from Taco Bell with your choice of creamy chipotle or avocado ranch at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time. Contact local store for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Being a real estate agent isn't about listing houses. It's about connecting to people. I need to find new buyers every day, so I promote my listings using radio commercials from iHeartAdBuilder.com. Now every time I have an open house, it's a full house.
A custom radio ad from iHeartAdBuilder is the fast, affordable way to drive customers to your business. Put the power of radio to work for you. Get started now at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
Professional women's tennis is coming back to Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville, April 15th and 16th. Tickets are on sale now at USTA.com/BJKC. Get your tickets and see Team USA women's tennis in this exciting match, April 15th and 16th.
Hey folks, DG here asking you to give yourself the gift of Asheville smiles here in 2022. Studies have linked untreated gum disease to heart disease, erectile dysfunction, systemic diseases, premature birth, joint issues, and much more. Everything is connected, and seeing a dentist every 6 months is important for your overall health. For top-notch dental care from Dr. Rebecca Merrill here in Asheville, call 828-251-2426 or AshevilleSmiles.com.
TrackPhone wants to know, are you an influencer? A big live streamer? No? Then guess what? You don't need an endless data plan. Get just the right amount of data with TrackPhone's $40 unlimited talk and text smartphone plan. Now with 8 gigs of high-speed data in unlimited carryover on America's largest, most dependable network, now with 5G. Get the data you need at the price you want. TrackPhone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at major retailers. 5G compatible device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary. See terms and conditions at trackphone.com.
Hey guys, I'm Ziggy, your local Philly girl, owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. I've created a traditional northern deli with only the most authentic cheesesteaks outside of Philadelphia, served with provolone, white American, or Cheese Whiz. Our other classic deli sandwiches are made with the best quality meats and cheeses, available sliced by the pound. Join us for breakfast for house-made bagels with our custom cream cheeses. Or for something heartier, try a pork roll, egg, and cheese or house-cured lox. Ziggy's Bakery and Deli, in the corner of Asheville Commons, 1550 Hendersonville Road, open 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
The madness begins here. Make sure you're at the Harrah's Cherokee Center in Asheville, North Carolina, March 3rd through 7th for the Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships. You don't want to miss the action as your favorite SoCon teams compete for a championship and a berth in the NCAA tournament. Book your travel and tickets by logging on to SoConHoops.com or by contacting the Harrah's Cherokee Center Asheville box office. The madness begins in Asheville. Get your tickets today.
The Sportsocracy.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
And welcome back into the program here on ESPN Asheville. Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene in the Ingles Studio. And congratulations to Robert. He's picking up that family 4-pack to go to the Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships. Again, everything kicks off with the first round of the women's tournament coming up on Thursday. Of course, hopefully we will be out there on Friday, possibly Monday, depending on what UNC Asheville does. Again, programming note, no program tomorrow afternoon as UNC Asheville will be taking on Charleston Southern in the first round of the Big South tournament down in Charlotte. But you want to see tournament basketball? It is in your backyard this weekend, Friday through Monday. You want more tickets? Guess what? We're going to give away another 4-pack coming up in the next hour. So stick with us, and we'll be doing that right around the appearance of SoCon Commissioner Jim Schaus, who's going to join us to kind of preview the tournament. Everything is going to be going on throughout the weekend down there at the Civic Center. Top 10 under 25 NBA players. Okay, Jeremy, you said you could prove that Zion Williamson is a generational player. Do it.
All right, so in the last 2 drafts since Zion and the one that's going to happen this year in June,
okay,
would you take Zion Williamson or Anthony Edwards?
Zion.
Not close.
Yeah.
James Wiseman was the 2, LaMelo Ball was the 3.
Mm-hmm.
I would take Zion over all 3 of them. 2021, LaMelo's he's great. He still can't shoot.
He's in my heart.
And that's fine. He still can't shoot. I love him to death. He's a great player, and he fits in Charlotte quite nicely.
Yeah.
Put him on a team where he has absolutely nothing, and what do you think that's going to look like?
I will agree. Okay.
2021, this year. Cade Cunningham, Jalen Greene, Evan Mobley.
Yeah, not close.
You taking any one of those? Even thinking about Evan Mobley's closer
Evan
than people
Mobley
think.
I might pause for a minute on Evan Mobley, but yeah, no, I think I would take Zion number 1.
All right, Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, Jaden Ivey. That's the consensus top 3 this year.
Chet Holmgren is so good, but he's
a very good player.
Yeah, he is.
Is he a generational talent?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Nope.
Don't think so.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
There you go. You take Zion over every one of them. And that's with not knowing what he is.
Right, and that's a 3-year window. I get exactly.
There are just so few of these guys. And now, especially with the way the game is evolving, the way that prospects are being brought into the league, every one of these players has wart. I can't tell you the last player that came into the league. It's probably LeBron James that came into this league, and they didn't have a serious categoric flaw.
Mm-hmm.
Zion has one. He likes to eat,
yeah.
and his competitive level may not be as high as you want it to be. I'm going to say this one more time. In the one season he's played in this league, there were 3 players more valuable than him in the entire league.
Mm-hmm.
It's closer than you think. I'd still, yes, I will have Ja would be my 1A. I think I'd still take Luka over him, but it's very close, and I haven't made up my mind yet. Zion's 3.
All right, we'll do the top 25, the top 10 under 25 NBA players coming up next. First, let's get just a bit outside.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
All right, we all know the NFL is king, but this is another study, another number that it just...
I knew you couldn't resist telling this story.
Further cemented the fact and kind of blew my mind, actually. So we got the original numbers from Nielsen. The Nielsen Ratings Company gave us the original numbers for how many people watched the Super Bowl. It was 167 million unique viewers watched the game for at least 1 minute. Now there's been a further study. A custom study by the NFL and Nielsen found that 208 million people watched Super Bowl 56. This study looked closer at the viewership among groups at parties, bars, and restaurants. The story goes, the second look was based on a survey of 6,600 households conducted through all these research centers, and they found that 90% of all of the people who used a television on February the 13th were watching the Super Bowl. 90% of people that used a television on Super Bowl Sunday watched the festivities down in LA. That's absolutely mind-boggling. 208 million total, and 90% of people using televisions saw the game.
Yeah, I think the NFL is doing just fine.
The NFL is king, and it ain't going nowhere.
There's only one team in college basketball that you can say their name, and it tells you how they play. It's Ooey Pooey.
Ooey Pooey.
They're not good. They're very not good at basketball. They have 3 wins all season long. One of them is against Spalding University, which is a Roman Catholic school with an undergraduate enrollment of 1,300.
They make great basketballs.
And baseballs.
And baseballs.
One of their other wins was against East-West University. They can't even determine which direction they're going.
What? East-West University?
It is a USCAA independent with an enrollment of less than 1,000.
Oh, hot.
Well, they won one other game. And tonight, against Oakland, they will start their trek through their conference tournament.
Yes.
They have a problem that I don't think I've ever seen before.
Okay.
They only have 5 players left.
That's it?
So all 5 players that trot out for ooey pooey tonight will have to play all 40 minutes. If somebody fouls out, they will have to play with 4. This may turn into Survivor basketball.
What time? I got to know what time this game is because I'm gonna pull that up on ESPN3 and because I want to see it. Look, I'm sorry, ooey pooey, you found yourselves in this situation, but I have never seen that before.
They actually held an open tryout for their basketball team at the beginning of February, and they decided, you know what, we're just going to roll with who we have.
Wow. No, that's bad.
They have a freshman guard named Boston Stanton III, a freshman center named Chuck Isatua.
Okay.
Another guard, Mike DePersia, Nathan McClure, who is also a junior guard, and a grad transfer named B.J. Maxwell. Those 5 players will play all 40 minutes tonight. Now,
that's right.
I know the people that listen to this show pretty well. You told us that story, but can you bet on it? Well, actually, it's funny you asked me that because, yes, you can. You can go to betus.com, and the active line on this game right now is Oakland minus 23.5. There is not enough. I don't know how much I would put on this because I haven't figured out how much it's going to be yet. It's going to be quite a lot. Because here's the thing. The 5 that they're playing, it's not just that they're thin. They weren't good before they became thin. Now they're playing, I mean, it's the 5th best team in the Horizon League. They're 19-11. They're fine. You're playing with 5 guys. You do realize if somebody gets 3 fouls in the first half, you can't do anything with that.
Nope.
Just play nicer. Their defensive strategy might be put a hand up from 4 feet away.
But they will continue the game if somebody fouls out. They'll just have to play with 4.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm looking for. I want to see that
Clemson
happen.
did that one time.
Did they really?
Yeah, with when Rick Barnes was there. They fouled through every player on the roster, and they had 4 players left.
Wow.
And I'll never forget I was a kid, and Rick Barnes was taking his jacket off like, I'll go in. Yeah, this is one of those times that Vegas can't set the number high enough.
Right.
I mean, this could be 98-30. This is going to be a devastation.
Absolute devastation.
But good for the 5 guys on the team that you didn't just tap.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be really deflating to just look around and go, we're the only 5 left.
Right.
They've had a couple leave the program, a slew of injuries. Got 5 guys left.
That's rough. It's absolutely rough.
The over-under, by the way, 123.5.
Under?
Oh, I don't
you go
know.
Under on that one?
Because here's the problem. If you wind up with 4 guys for any period of time, it becomes very easy to score.
Oh, yeah.
So there's part of me that thinks I might go over. But maybe Oakland takes it light on them and you see the reserve squad for the last 10 minutes. This is going to be ugly.
You see what would that be, the gold team?
I guess.
It would be the gold and the black team.
Yeah, this is not going to be a Disney movie. There will be no heroic comeback here.
You never know. It is March. It is today officially March 1st. Weird things happen in March. We all know that. All right, the top 10 players in the NBA under the age of 25. It's all been flipped on its head this year because Devin Booker's no longer he's no longer eligible.
Yeah, he is 25. He turned 25 in October.
Yeah, he just currently turned 25. So it all gets shaken up. And look, it's close, but I still have Luka Doncic as the number 1 under 25 player in the league.
He would probably be my one. I can't really differentiate between him and Ja because they're the same guy. They're very high-level playmakers that I've never actually seen win anything.
But who's got the edge? I mean, obviously Luka's got the long-range edge over Ja, but Ja has the go to the bucket. He has the drive game over Luka. Right?
He does.
So,
I mean, Ja's certainly more athletic. I've always said Luka kind of has that old guy at the gym game of there's nothing overly athletic about him, but he's so skilled.
Mm-hmm. He's got that just sweet, like butter shot that rarely ever hits rim. He's an absolute ace when it comes to long-range shooting. He would be my 1. He's my 1. Ja Morant's my 2, though, and it's real close. I do not have Zion Williamson at 3, though.
I would love to know who you have ahead of him.
Okay, I will tell you. I have.
I know.
I have Trae Young ahead of him.
Yeah, that's one I knew you were going to say.
I have Trae Young ahead of him. I have Jason Tatum ahead of him. I have LaMelo Ball and Bam Adebayo ahead of him.
Yeah, those last two are insane. The last two are absolutely categorically, you are out of your mind.
Again,
insane.
I have to take into account that you've only played 71 games in 3 years.
I don't care if he's played 7 minutes. I would take what Zion could be over both of the last two guys you said. Trae Young, I think we all know how I feel about Trae Young. That was a fun little run through the playoffs last year. And then what happened?
Yeah, they suck again.
Yeah. Oh no! You're bad again.
Right.
Trae Young now Trae to me has that game of it's very finicky because he's so reliant on his ability to shoot. So if you go cold, and I know somebody's going to say, "But what about Steph Curry?" Well, here's the thing: Steph never goes cold. Trae does, and it happens for extended periods of time. And when they do, that's one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, they are brutally hard to watch. I mean, I'd still have Trae Young in the top
5.
5?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably top 5. LaMelo's the one that messes with me with Trae. I don't know. If you made me choose which one of those guys would I rather have, I think it's LaMelo Ball. I think I would rather have him than Trae Young.
That one's close to me.
LaMelo just makes people around him better.
Right. I have Trae ahead of him because of his individual athletic ability, and his scoring ability is just far above what LaMelo's is right now. Again, what you said, though, I mean, there ain't another – I don't know that there's a better passer in the league right now than LaMelo Ball.
No, and see, this is – when we get into things like this, here's my tiebreaker. Put Trae Young in Charlotte, put LaMelo in Atlanta. What do you think happens? Which team gets instantaneously better?
Oh, it's Atlanta.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's everything you need to know. Trae Young has markedly better talent around him. Like John Collins is a guy that would be on the backside of this list because somehow, in spite of the fact that I swear he's been in the league for 15 years, he's only 24 years old.
Right.
I've never seen Trae make him better. I think LaMelo would.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's one reason. If you're a Charlotte fan, you should be really encouraged right now because you still got a guy in James Bouknight that I really liked that doesn't even sniff the floor.
Okay.
But as long as you got LaMelo, you got the star.
Right.
He's one that, and I'd like to have him higher.
Miles is Miles is sooner on this list, I think, than people think as well.
Miles, he's going to be sooner on your list than on mine because I have a funny feeling you're going to put him ahead of somebody that's going to make me laugh out loud. And I
don't have him on this list.
Okay.
I do not have him in my top. What I'm saying is, if we did a overall under 25 team for the NBA, I think Miles Bridges would be higher on that list than some might think.
He would have been my 13. And that's soft. I can't tell you definitively.
I would probably have him run down around 15 or so. But Jason Tatum's my 4. I mean, the guy has been unbelievable in Boston. He's better than I even thought he was going to be when he was coming out of Duke. Again, he's another one of those Duke guys that he goes into the NBA, and I'm like, I don't know, he's a Duke guy. And then he gets to Boston, and it's like, oh, that kid's special.
Yeah, my fear with him is I don't know that he can ever be a true one. I mean, yes, he's the best player for the Celtics, but he's also got Jaylen Brown that is very close.
Yes.
I just feel like he's always going to need that Robin to his Batman.
Everybody needs the Robin to their Batman, though.
Yeah, but not all of them need Robin to be Jaylen Brown.
Right.
You know, who's the Robin to John Morant's Batman right now? Jaren Jackson. I like Jaren Jackson. I do.
He'd be on this list, too, I think, if he's under 25.
He's not. Or he is.
I think he's right there somewhere in that neighborhood.
I think he's younger than you think he is.
He might be.
That's one of the fun parts about playing this game in the NBA because you look at a guy like the guy that's my 6, De'Aaron Fox. I feel like he's been in the league for a decade and a half. He's 24 years old.
Jaren Jackson's 22.
I knew he was really
22.
young. I knew he was really young because he either just did sign or is getting ready to sign an extension.
Yeah.
Which means he's been in the league for 4 years.
Yeah. Anyway, Jaren Jackson, he's unbelievable too. So he should be down on this list. He'll be a little bit ahead of Miles.
He would have been right behind him for me
on my list. All right. So who's your 4?
My 1 was Luka.
Yeah.
Luka, Ja combined.
All right.
Then Zion. And now you've confused me because I've already said this, so I scrolled past it. I was hoping if I talk long enough, I'd eventually remember it.
I'm sorry.
My four is LaMelo.
LaMelo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then Tatum was my 5.
Okay.
Or no, Trae Young was my 5. LaMelo was my 6. Jason Tatum would have been my 7.
Okay. All right. No props for Bam Adebayo in that top 6 or 7.
I like Bam, but at the end of the day, Bam can score if he is as close to the basket as I am to you right now.
Yes.
And that always makes me nervous because it's so hard for guys in this league to.
That's all I need him to do. I think he is the best young rim protector.
And I don't
go
disagree
to the
with that.
basket. I just want that gritty guy on my team, and that's why I have him. I have him just ahead of Zion on my list because of the injuries with Zion. Now, if the injuries didn't exist, of course Zion's going to be 2. I can't go any higher than 2 with Zion, but it's because of the injuries that I have to knock him on this list. What can be? Still, like I said, going into the last break, I think he's going to be a generational player, but that's only if he can stay healthy, he can stay on the floor, and we haven't been able to see that yet. Now, after him on the list, that's where I have Jared Allen. I have Jared Allen at 8.
This is where I would have had Jamal Murray 8 days ago.
Okay.
But he turned 25 8 days ago.
Okay. I got you. So Jamal Murray no longer eligible for this list either.
No, this is where I'd have DeAndre Ayton. I look at Ayton and go, A, you're younger. B, you score about the same way. And I just think you're more impactful. Now, granted, that could be because you got Devin Booker and Chris Paul. But at the end of the day, Bam's still got Jimmy Butler. And Bam's a very specific team fit. He needs guys around him that can shoot. That's why the Colin Cowherd, they should trade for LeBron James with 2 1s and Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. And,
Wait, what? What?
That's LeBron's only way to win a title, so Miami should make the deal for him in the offseason.
Yeah, because he ain't winning one in L.A.
No.
He definitely ain't winning one in L.A.
No, that L.A. thing is not going particularly well. You got the 1. And then...
Yeah, and the only reason you got the 1 was because you got 4 months off in the middle of the season to rest up your old bones and your brittle bones with Anthony Davis. DeAndre Ayton is next on my list at 9, and then my 10. I don't know. Darius Garland maybe is my 10. This is a group of guys that I have. I have De'Aaron Fox. I have Darius Garland. I have Anthony Edwards.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
SGA.
De'Aaron Fox. I was sitting going, why did my numbers not work out? You asked me to go backwards.
I apologize. SGA, Anthony Edwards, De'Aaron Fox, Darius Leonard.
Darius Leonard, great linebacker, not a great NBA player.
Darius Garland. All those guys are kind of right here in this. I would squeeze them in somewhere in this 10 to 15 range of just these guys are really, really good, but you don't crack the top 10 for me yet.
Garland's my 10. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of being wishy-washy on this because he's the one player that I don't know exactly what he is. If you told me anybody in this realm, the 9 to 17 range, became a just consummate all-star, it'd be Garland.
Really?
It'd be Garland. Well, because he came in, replaced Colin Sexton this year, and now look how good they are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, it has a lot to do with how many bigs they have and the way they're playing. He's still the straw that stirs the drink, and I kind of look at him and go, that kid could be Damian Lillard in a year, and it would not surprise me in the least.
Now let's go down to 15, 16, 17. That list would probably also include Evan Mobley.
Evan Mobley's very good.
So think about it. We got 3 Cleveland Cavaliers in the top 15, 16 of players. I won't say kids because I'm getting old. Players under 25.
You're old
NBA.
enough to be all of their dads. So just
did
that make you? Did that work?
My
Was that good
soul.
for you?
Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Evan Mobley, you would have been out of high school when that's how old you are. You had never thought of that, had you?
I had never thought of that.
Yeah.
Now I'm having like a crisis, like a midlife crisis right here live on the air. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I would be remiss since you brought up Evan Mobley.
Yep.
Do you remember last year during the draft, I said there was one guy that I had clearly ahead of everybody else?
I do.
It was Evan Mobley.
That was that guy. He was that guy. Also,
never bought Cade Cunningham. But I might tonight.
You might tonight. All right, we got Green on Green picks of the night coming up next right here on ESPN Asheville.
Coffee still closes.
After the break.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Asheville, Monsters of Rock and Roll website. March 18th and 19th, Monster TNT explodes into the Egg Center. Here they come, metallic monsters and raw horsepower. Starring the high-flying school bus called Higher Education. 3 monster shows. Tickets now at MonsterTNT.com or buy at Allen's Jewelry and Pawn for free pit passes. Monster TNT, the Egg Center.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics, 826-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517.
Hello, this is Discover, and we take customer service very seriously. We know that if you have a question or concern about your credit card, that's a serious matter, and you need to talk to a real person about it. So we offer around-the-clock access to seriously talented representatives in the USA. Again, it's a serious endeavor. The only funny thing about it is Bob. If you call us and Bob answers, you're in for a treat. Get 100% U.S.-based customer service and talk to a real person day or night. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
This week at Macy's, find great deals on new arrivals just in time for spring, like updated floral dresses and sharp suits he'll love, both 15% off. Take time to unwind in soft and comfy pajamas, 25% off. And socks, slippers, and leggings, 20% off. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase, except gift cards, services, and fees. Sign up today at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Coffee still closes on.
Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
2-2 last night. Thanks, Pacers, for nothing. Every time I count on the Pacers, they poo on me. Not doing it tonight, but I got one that is an absolute banger. First off, the Detroit Pistons are a 3.5-point dog tonight at Washington, and that is insane to me. The starting lineup for the Washington Wizards tonight is Raul Nato, KCP, Corey Kispert, Kyle Kuzma, and Daniel Gafford. That team is favored by 3.5. If that team played Gonzaga, I don't think they should be favored by 3.5. This is a bad miss on the line. Give me the Pistons plus 3.5. The LA Clippers are a 7-point favorite tonight at the Houston Rockets. The Rockets are doing that thing that I always say, if you're going to be bad, be really bad. Right. In the last 10 games, they have averaged losing by 16.7 points. They don't just get beat, they get obliterated. Give me the Clippers minus the 7. Finally, we won both sides of this last night, so we might as well just lather up and do it again tonight. The Toronto Raptors are a 9-point favorite against the Brooklyn Nets, over under 218. They slaughtered the Nets last night. They were up 15 in the first quarter.
But the Nets didn't have Kyrie.
They won't tonight either because this one's in Canada.
Oh,
give me the Toronto Raptors minus the 9, over the 218.
Go and do likewise, gents. The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no sympathy for it.
And you can take those wagers over to BetUs.com, BetUS.com. Use the promo code Sportsocracy and get a 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in, up to $2,500.
I can't emphasize enough. That Detroit Piston line is one of the worst ones I've seen all year. Detroit's been better in the last, 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Jeremy Grant's kind of taken a secondary role, and it's better that way. I mean, I'm sure he doesn't want that, but there was a lot of talk about him at the trade deadline. It's become very obvious now that you're not a franchise piece. The offense doesn't need to run through you. The offense needs to run through Cade and Sadiq Bey, and I've seen more of that. I also look at Washington and go, you have 11 players, and one of them could play dead in the Western on defense. So how exactly are you planning on stopping this team? Not that they're great offensively, but I think I could score 8 points on at least 4 people that are going to wear a Washington Wizards jersey tonight.
Wow.
And I'm talking about right now. I'm not talking about in the good old days.
In the good old days. Back in the good old days, I'd weighed a whole lot more than I do right now. In fact,
so it wasn't the good old days. It was the big old days.
It was the big old days. And I'm still a big guy. And I'm probably going to be a big guy for a while, but PhD weight loss is helping me put myself on a path that I really never even thought was possible. You know, when we sat down with Dr. Ashley Lucas to talk about the PhD weight loss program, and she told me that she had a weight loss goal for me, that she wanted me to end up on this program being down to 175 pounds, I was gobsmacked. I was like, that's never happened to me before. But I'm actually believing it. We've been on this program since just before Thanksgiving, the Monday before Thanksgiving, and since then we're down. I am down 40 pounds, over 40 pounds on PhD.
I am below 260 pounds. I had my monthly guy gathering last night, and many of the guys at the game were like, you look great. You look better than I've ever seen you. I'm back to my high school weight, and it's all because of PhD.
That's right. You want a transformation in 2022? MyPhDweightLoss.com. They'll put you on the path to success. MyPhDweightLoss.com. Second hour of the program coming up after the Sports Center update. We will have more picks from Jeremy in the 5 on it. We'll have your weird news. We'll talk to the commissioner of the Southern Conference. Jim Schaus will join us to talk about the Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships coming up at the Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville. The first thing we will discuss, though, is not only the proposal for new overtime rules in the NFL, but also Mel Kiper did a mock draft, and Jeremy is upset with his I'm trying to think of the right word.
Prognostications.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that, he's your idol. That's what I was going for. Jeremy's going to take issue with his idol. Coming up after the Sports Center update. Hang with us.
This is your Exergent Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, an uphill climb to the numbers and some beautiful early March weather unfolding for the Carolinas. High pressure in charge. It's not until the weekend that we bring the cloud cover back into our forecast. Low tonight, 34. Sunshine Wednesday, high 68. We're up into the 70s for Thursday. And then increasing clouds Friday night and for the weekend with some clouds in and out of the forecast, 60s and 70s this weekend. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. When you need a taco, you need a taco. Try the new Cantina Crispy Chicken Taco from Taco Bell with your choice of creamy chipotle or avocado ranch at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time. Contact local store for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We'll get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we'll take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $69.99. You can learn more about our battery selection at AutoZone.com. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2021.
Asheville, Monsters of Rock and Roll website. March 18th and 19th, Monster TNT explodes into the Egg Center. Metallic monsters and raw horsepower. Tickets now at monstertnt.com or buy at Allen's Jewelry and Pawn for free pit passes.
Real credit card questions require real people. Someone who understands your issues and works to resolve them with you. That's why Discover offers helpful, U.S.-based representatives. Available 24/7. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Developing story, talks broke down between Major League Baseball and the Players Union this afternoon, leading the league to declare it will make one final offer for a new labor deal before a 5 Eastern deadline in an attempt to end the lockout. Some news today on Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott at the NFL Combine from Coach Mike McCarthy.
He's back at it. He's been in the building. Actually, he was one of, I think we had one of 8 players that had postseason surgery, so he had a cleanup of his left shoulder, so it's something that needed to be done. So he's rehabbing that, but he's starting his process to get back into it.
McCarthy also said the team's not concerned about the injury and does expect Prescott to fully take part in OTAs. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo expected to undergo shoulder surgery soon and will be out until this summer. He still, however, is likely to be traded this month. NBA, the Hornets are signing veteran point guard Isaiah Thomas to a 10-day contract. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, Charlotte's dropped 11 of 13, has fallen into 9th place in the Eastern Conference.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets.
And welcome back into ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We are the Sportsocracy, the Democratic Republic of Sports. Beer City's best sports talk here on ESPN Asheville, live in the Ingles Studio. You can not only hear us everywhere on the iHeart Radio app, but you can see us on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link. Don't forget to hit subscribe to the channel so you get all of the alerts when we put out new content, like our home run off seasons, best possible off seasons for each and every NFL team, going to be coming out in the next few days. And you can also you will also get the alert for tomorrow's program that will be in place of this one, because UNC Asheville basketball, they'll be playing Charleston Southern in the Big South Conference tournament here on ESPN Asheville. But don't worry, Sportsocracy fans, we got you covered. We're going to have some extra content coming out tomorrow at 3 o'clock.
We have I usually do 3 mock drafts, but I only do 1 with trades. And Mel Kiper Jr. put out his mock with trades. So that covers something that we haven't talked about. Who in this draft could actually be a trade candidate? So the way we're going to do this, Tank's team's in the NFC, my team's in the AFC. So I will control the AFC teams. He will control the NFC teams. If there are trades, we cannot trade with ourselves.
Okay.
So that is the one preponderance, is that if I want to trade up for somebody, I have to convince him. If he wants to do the same, he has to do it with me.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this idea. So we'll have the mock draft coming up tomorrow at 3 o'clock on the YouTube channel only. Again, UNC Asheville basketball, the men facing Charleston Southern tomorrow here on ESPN Asheville. I believe we start up at 1:30, tip-off set for 2 o'clock for that showdown in Charlotte in the first round of the Big South Tournament. Coming up later on in this hour, we will be talking about the Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships. The Southern Conference groups or teams come up here to the mountains to crown a champion and win a ticket to the big dance, and we will have your chance to win tickets coming up in just mere moments here on ESPN Asheville. A family 4-pack of tickets going to be available to you. The last one that we will have to give away. You don't get in on this one. You can purchase your tickets online at SoConHoops.com. Jim Schaus, the commissioner of the Southern Conference, will be joining us as well. But let's get into it here. Mel's mock draft, his latest one and the first one with trades. He is... Well,
he fell into the same kerfuffle that everybody seems to. He has Ike McQuanu at 1.
He does. The number 1 tackle in this draft.
You just did that to make me angry.
I did. Say it.
He's not a guard. He's a guard. He's not a tackle.
He's a guard. He's a guard. He's a guard. It's my favorite thing that he does every year. What tackles come in listed as tackles, but will not be tackles at the next level. These will be guards. We believe Ike McQuanu there's no doubt he's got great skills, but this guy is not a number 1 pick.
And look, I have watched the progression on him this entire draft period. He was a mid 1 until probably the middle of January, end of January, somewhere in there. I'm not telling you he's not good, because he is. And anybody that's an NC State fan will tell you that it was very obvious how good of a run blocker he was. Now, let me make this as perfectly clear as I can. If you take him at 1 and you intend on him being your left tackle of the future, he's going to make Luke Jokel look like a Tonka toy.
Wow, you went deep on that one.
He will make Luke Jokel look like Tony Baselli. So there's that. Now, if you go in and go, hey, we're drafting a guard at 1. Okay, I have a funny feeling. And look, I like Aquanu a lot. I have a weird feeling he's going to have a very Robert Gallery kind of career, where he comes in as a left tackle and it is going to be bad, especially if it's with Jacksonville. Because you have a young quarterback. What do young quarterbacks do notoriously?
Hold the ball too long?
Hold the ball too long. What messed with Ike McQuanu in college, in the ACC, with one legitimate program in it?
Devin Leary holding on to the ball.
Speed rushers.
Oh, okay.
Because he could not hold up on the outside. That's why people like me see him as guard. Now, can he be a right tackle? Yes.
Yes.
And is this a microcosm of what's wrong with his draft? Absolutely. Because I would say he has the highest floor in this class.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I'll go through Mel's mock one by one. Ike McQuanu is one. That's who we're talking about. Aidan Hutchison. There is an entire possibility that he is never better than the 30th best defensive end in the league. It's entirely possible. Still be a legitimate starter. Still be a guy that you look at and go, okay, it's fine. Evan Neal at 3. He's a giant human. And his best case scenario may be him playing right tackle. But he'd be a starting right tackle in the league for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The only guy in this draft that I no doubt will tell you, just stake my reputation on it, is going to be a high-end impact player in this draft class is...
Who? Kyle Hamilton?
There you go.
Okay. Sorry,
I've only said his name 406 times.
I was torn between him and Kayvon Thibodeau, but I think even you have reservations about him now.
It's not that I have reservations about him. I have... He has a Zion Williamson level problem of the effort was inconsistent, but he still had the second best pressure rate in the country.
Mm-hmm.
His high side is Khalil Mack.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something to that. Now, Kayvon Thibodeau, that's a guy that if he hits his floor, he may not get a second contract in this league because he might just get washed out. I mean, it might be one of those that there were times he was legitimately bad against the run. And so now, but this is what we do in the draft cycle, is that the more time that people like me have to sit around and watch tape and pick nits and things like that, the more a guy like Ike Ekwonu, who doesn't have the bad tape, skyrocket up boards. Mm-hmm. This happens every single year. And you know what almost invariably every one of those guys has in common?
They bust.
They end up being a bust.
Yeah.
Not because they're not good, but because they're drafted too high. If you told me Ike Ekwonu went to the Baltimore Ravens at 14, yep, I'm not going to say you should start tailoring his Hall of Fame jacket, but he's got a pretty good, I would say he's got a 25 to 30% chance of that.
Right.
You tell me he goes to Jacksonville? Whew. You should do that Eli Manning thing and just uncomfortably hold up the helmet until they trade you somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a lot of that. You know, the reason I used Baltimore a minute ago, there are a litany in their fan base that think I'm just a moron. Trevor Penning at 14 would be stupid. Who'd Mel Kiper have him taken?
Was it Trevor Penning?
That's in a trade down. I don't do trades. But since I saw that, I went, well, that could be a fun little exercise on our day off.
Right. So not at 14, but at 18.
Yeah, they trade down with New Orleans, who goes up to get Garrett Wilson, which makes absolutely no sense to me.
Is Garrett
Wilson... If you trade up for a receiver in this draft, I'm just going to level with you. You got robbed.
Right. I was going to say, is Garrett Wilson even a talent worth trading up for?
In a normal draft, yes. But wide receiver is the deepest position in this class by a great deal. Corner's close-ish. There's not the high end. Like, I know Sauce Gardner is going to be the number one corner in this class.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, do you remember the first person that said that out loud?
That was you.
Yeah, it's weird.
The first one I heard.
It's weird. And who's Mel Kiper have as the number one corner in this draft?
Yeah. Sauce Gardner.
That's one of those that I just looked at and went, you're going to get it eventually. You call me a moron for a month, and then you're going to figure it out and realize I'm right. I won't be shocked if Sauce Gardner goes in the top 5. I could, for whatever reason, and I'm not sitting here telling you that I would be ecstatic about this, but I wouldn't be mad at it. Kyle Hamilton's not there at 4. I'll take him. I'll take him at 4.
Well, I think the first time we had talked about the possibility of your Jets picking twice in the top 10, and that was early in the season when it just looked like Seattle was going to be awful, and of course they were. Your perfect scenario was getting Kyle Hamilton and Derek Stingley in the top 10.
You know what? If we don't put it in the air, the Jets won't jet, and it will happen, and I will be the happiest person in the world.
You'll be good with Stingley?
Oh, no. I want Hamilton at 4 and Gardner at 10.
And Gardner at 10.
That is my perfect scenario.
Right.
There is no happier moment to me than Kyle Hamilton at 4 and Sauce Gardner at 10.
Okay, and Mel in his latest mock draft has the Atlanta Falcons at 8, taking Sauce Gardner as the first cornerback off the board.
Well, and that's one of the reasons that pick started my brain working. There are a lot of elements to what's going to happen in this offseason that are a big deal. You know, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have shoulder surgery now, which means he's out of commission until probably July. That doesn't sour me on anything, but if I'm Washington, I'm looking at 11. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying now I would. Okay, now we're asking a lot. You know, you're going to have to be coming back off the rehab, learning the new offense, and be ready for the first week of September. That's a lot. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying it's something you have to think about. The comical part of this is still the quarterbacks. I still am just dumbfounded by how many people just absolutely hate every quarterback in this class, and I cannot wrap my head around it. Look, I've seen bad draft class. Okay, I graded the E.J. Manuel, Geno Smith draft.
Yeah.
I went back to my notes to see because I always have lines. You know, I'm a catchphrase guy. And what I said was, if you draft any quarterback in this draft, you should have your head examined. other than E.J. Manuel,
Mm-hmm.
who I said was a top 10 guy. Missed that one. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
We have gotten better. We have learned from our mistakes, and we don't do those things now.
By quite a lot. You missed that about as much as Grambling State missed on hiring Art Briles. If you didn't see that, he's already gone. He's already stepped away and said, I don't want to be a distraction. Yeah, we knew that was going to be a distraction. There had not been a worse coaching decision made since Urban Meyer hired the guy from Iowa.
Or since Jacksonville hired Urban Meyer. Insert Jacksonville hire here.
Right.
But, this is just, of all the drafts I've ever covered, this is probably the one I'm the most excited about because I've never seen anything like this. Top 10 guys, the consensus top 10 guys. And we start, there are people behind closed doors that are laughing at you for the potential that you would take Derek Stingley in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people that, hush, hush, cloak and dagger, they're laughing at you.
Oh, I've seen some mock drafts that have him dropping into the 20s.
I would be nominally surprised. I think one of the things I do agree with Mel on, I think his drop dead spot's Minnesota.
Okay.
I don't think he'll fall past 12.
Which makes sense. I mean, they need to rebuild that secondary.
They need a corner, and I'll be honest with you, that team is so good, it's so talented, that you can afford to take the risk. I mean, if you pass Jermaine Johnson, okay, that's another guy that there's a wide variance of grades on. I've seen Jermaine Johnson in the top 8.
Mm-hmm.
I've also seen him in the second round, which is more where he belongs, just throwing that out there. I mean, I know he's a Florida State guy, and I love him, but
I was going to say,
he's
that
not a top
me.
10 pick.
I wouldn't expect you to have him in top 10, but at least first round.
Mel had him at 13. He goes to the Denver Broncos in a trade down, and Cleveland trades up for Drake London. I'm really not trying to pat myself on the back here, but do you realize how tired I get of saying things and then 6 weeks later, everybody, the high-end draft guys just regurgitate what I said 6 weeks ago?
Right, yeah. You've been on Drake London since the get-go. So, yeah.
Do you realize how tired I get of that?
No, you don't.
Look,
no, you don't. It makes your head swell up and you go, I knew that before milk hyper.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
Yeah, you do.
It kind of does. It kind of does.
He gets that little look on his face. He's like, did you just mess yourself? No, I just got proven right again.
Did you, Mel, where'd you, where did you hear that one from?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm pretty sure it wasn't from you.
I'm not good. I was the first one that I know of that said it.
Right.
And I can't, and that's just how this works. It's, as somebody that did a lot of stand-up, if somebody repeats one of your jokes verbatim, it's really easy to go, okay, there's no way you could possibly have done that.
Right.
Now with this, Mel's a smart guy. Not the greatest mock drafter you ever seen in your life. Love him to death. Greatest hair in the business.
Yep.
But not a great mock drafter. The more you watch the tape, the more it just becomes abundantly obvious. I mean, to me, I watch Garrett Wilson, I watch Drake London, and I go, well, if you have an IQ above salad dressing, you're seeing which one of these is clearly better than the other. I'm not sitting here. That's not what I was trying to say. I was being more farcical than I was anything.
Right.
But yeah, and that's how I think this is going to go. The safer guys will get pushed up, and the riskier guys, the Derek Stingley Jr.'s, Charles Cross is one that makes me a little bit nervous. Just because the system he played in, you're going to the NFL, and this is apples and this is not even apples and oranges. This is like apples and coffee cups compared to what it was he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see a lot of movement in this class because of that. But tomorrow, a random extra. This will be the second of now 4 mock drafts.
Right.
I love mock draft day.
Well, but it'll just be first round mock draft, right?
Yeah. I'm not going to ask you to.
I was getting ready to say, like, we start getting into the third, fourth rounds, like, I'm going to, 1, lose interest, and 2, I don't know that I can go that deep.
Yeah, no. I have another plan for the big mock draft that you will have to basically MC.
Nice.
It's going to be
I like that. Or like a round table. I dig it.
Yeah. That's one where we're going to test our Zoom capabilities.
Excellent. Can't wait for it. You know what else I can't wait for? The Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships. SoCon tournament every year is just, it's phenomenal atmosphere. And I know that, look, I feel like pretty much all conference tournaments, except for the West Coast Conference, are competitive. And they go down to the wire, and you just never know how they're going to shake out. The SoCon tournament this year is going to be phenomenal. UTC comes in at the top of the conference with one of the best teams in, I would say one of the best mid-major teams in all of college basketball, Silvio De Souza. You remember that name from Kansas?
I do.
He plays for UTC now. So they've done a good job on the transfer market, and they've just done a heck of a job with that program. They come in. Furman's still at the top of the league in second place. It is just going to be a great tournament. And I got tickets for you right now. You give us a call at 225-4988. 225-4988. Your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the 2022 Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships. You do not want to miss the tournament. It all kicks off with the first round of the women's tournament coming up on Thursday, and then they got sessions all the way through Monday with the men's championship game. You can use the freebie tickets for any session you want to, except for Championship Monday. So all this weekend, you want to go grab the kids, go down to the Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships at the Harrah Cherokee Center, Asheville. Call us right now, 225-4988. 225-4988. A family 4-pack of Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships tickets can be yours. Coming up after the break, we will also be talking to the commissioner of the Southern Conference, Mr. Jim Schaus.
This is your Exergent Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, an uphill climb to the numbers and some beautiful early March weather unfolding for the Carolinas. High pressure in charge. It's not until the weekend that we bring the cloud cover back into our forecast. Low tonight, 34. Sunshine Wednesday, high 68. We're up into the 70s for Thursday. And then increasing clouds Friday night and for the weekend with some clouds in and out of the forecast, 60s and 70s this weekend. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing 26 westbound approaching the Blue Ridge Parkway and continuing to the French Broad River due to construction. On the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge, traffic volume busy and steady, especially on the westbound side. Near Biltmore Forest, Hendersonville Road, north and southbound between Biltmore Forest and the Blue Ridge Parkway, delays. Hendersonville Road southbound after the Blue Ridge Parkway to Mills Gap Road is slow. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road northbound approaching Long Shoals Road, delays. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. When you need a taco, you need a taco. Try the new Cantina Crispy Chicken Taco from Taco Bell with your choice of creamy chipotle or avocado ranch at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time. Contact local store for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
For my small bookstore to thrive, I can't just sell books. So I created a radio ad at iHeartAdBuilder.com to tell everyone about our author events, our story hours for kids, and our amazing lattes. Now we're busier than ever. I'd call that a success story.
A custom radio ad from iHeart Ad Builder is the fast, affordable way to drive customers to your business. Put the power of radio to work for you. Get started now at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
Think about what's hiding behind those vents in your home. No worries. Contact the pros at Zero Res Air Duct Cleaning. Right now, mention ESPN Asheville, and you'll get $30 off your next air duct cleaning, plus 15% off filters and purifiers. Book online at ZeroResAsheville.com.
Wait, aren't these all charitable donations?
At Magda's Tax Prep, every person counts.
I'd rather not have to file for an extension.
She needs new auditors to maximize returns on her family time.
On itemized deductions. Hey, can someone help with these 1099s?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you want the best for your car? Then fill up with Premium at Circle K. Circle K Premium is our best fuel with double the cleaning detergent, protecting your engine from corrosion and damage so it can work at its best. And that, my friend, increases your mileage for more cha-ching in your pocket. Plus, when you fill up with Premium at Circle K, you can save up to 20 cents per gallon. Offer valid Thursdays or Fridays at participating stores. For details, visit CircleK.com. Circle K. How convenient.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
The Sportsocracy.
The ceiling is the roof. Let's make it happen. Let's keep moving forward.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And, of course, Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. The Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships start this Thursday at the Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville. And joining us now on the phone line, we have the Commissioner of the Southern Conference, Mr. Jim Schaus. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great.
Well, we've got, once again, another year set up here in Asheville. I know you guys are thrilled, as always, to be back in Beer City, and we've got all the festivities in line. It's almost go time. Are we ready?
Yeah, we're ready. We've got our staff really, getting all the final touches ready for everything. It's really going to be exciting. Obviously, as you mentioned, the women's start on Thursday, men on Friday. Women's championship Sunday, men's championship Monday. But in between, some of the best college basketball in the country. This is a very special event. This is our 102nd tournament championship. We're the oldest postseason tournament in the country, and we think we're the best. Just have a great host in Asheville who's hosted it most of the years, more than any of the other area. It's just it's a special event, great facility. We sell out a couple of sessions every year. On the men's side, you've got, a conference that's, been ranked in the top 10, top 12 the last number of years. Great basketball, a lot of parity. The women's got some great teams too right now as well. A lot of fun activities, things that are going on. So there's just we're really, really excited about another year in Asheville for the SoCon tournament.
Definitely. We got, of course, the downtown dribble is always a popular event for folks to bring their kids out to. The downtown dribble, I guess we still do that. We meet down at the, I guess at Pack Square. The monument's not there anymore, so that used to be the gathering place. But I guess the base of the monument is where they all gather and then dribble down to the arena. And we got the Ingles fan zone as well. That's going to be there in the Jan Davis lobby. They're going to have interactive games and all of that. So a lot goes into just making it a full-on tournament experience. That's one of the things that I thought, in years past, smaller conference tournaments have been missing that. The first time I went to like an ACC tournament, I was blown away with all of the extra things that they had for fans there. And I'm glad that we've got a lot of that now going on. Thanks in part to not only the Asheville Buncombe Sports Commission, but also with Ingles doing the fan zone. It's all great.
Well, I agree. It's really a community event. Asheville. The city of Asheville, Buncombe County, you mentioned the Sports Commission. Everybody, it's a great team. You'll probably see, some 75, pole banners in the streets. The hotels are behind this. There's a charity component to this event. You mentioned the basketball dribble that takes place Saturday morning downtown. Ingles, of course, has been a tremendous sponsor. They've been a great partner with this. The fan zone, they sponsor trolleys that run from various parking locations, getting you conveniently to the arena, and just so many other areas that Ingles supports. So, it really is, as you mentioned, there's a lot of activities going on, not just the basketball. That's enough. But, to go one more step, there's just an atmosphere in Asheville. People know the events going on. They care. Many of these conference tournaments, frankly, in some larger cities, people don't even know what's going on. And so we have a robust history. It matters to us, and it matters to the people in the area. And I just encourage, anyone who has never been there or hasn't been in a while, you got to come on back. We've got a very safe environment now. With some of the restrictions have been lifted with COVID. It's a fun event. If you don't have tickets or you want to learn more about it, SoConHoops.com, SoConHoops.com, great place to go to find about how to get tickets and, hotels, things to do in the Asheville area. It really has everything that you need. So really encourage folks to come on out, join the fun. You don't want to miss it.
Well, you mentioned it. That's the thing that I've been looking forward to most about the, I'm going to call this the return of the SoCon tournament, since, it hasn't gone anywhere. It's still been here. But, the last major event, the last major sports event that we got to go to before the shutdown was the SoCon tournament back in 2020. And it was about 3 days after that everything started shutting down. The NBA shut down. They started canceling conference tournaments around college basketball. And being able to see ETSU win that championship and the thought of them getting ready to go into the tournament was phenomenal. And then everything came to a halt. And then last year we had restrictions with the tournament. Now this year it's wide open. And that, to me, the return of fans to college basketball has what's made this season so special.
I agree. I really think it's critical to kind of get what happened last year behind us. We were restricted in terms of attendance. Let's get back to where we've been, having tremendous attendance. It's going to be a safe and fun environment for everybody. We've certainly seen fans return to the regular season, and that's been fantastic. So, yes, I think we're really looking forward to a really big event. This might be one of the bigger ones that we've ever had. We're really expecting some great crowds and great support this year.
Talk to us a little bit, though, about the challenges from your perspective as the commissioner going through the shutdown and having to deal with all of the restrictions and things. Do you think that hampered people or is still hampering people from coming back and getting back into the flow of things?
It was a challenge. All of us experienced difficulty in our jobs and our personal lives for a year and a half plus. And, we were no stranger to that either. One of the challenges we had was working with our schools on having to reschedule games and determine, what constitutes safety and health and the testing that took place on the campuses and even at our championships to ensure health and safety for student athletes, coaches, and fans. And so obviously that was the paramount issue there. And now that, now that we've really had, we had a couple of games rescheduled during our basketball season, but by and large, it's been, several months since we've really had to deal with that. Hopefully it's in our rearview mirror. I think it will take sometimes a little bit of effort for some folks to kind of move it on back. I think our attendance is really building and growing as this season has unfurled. So, whether it's your church or movies or concerts, whatever, I think that our society is getting back to that. I think they're getting back to being conditioned to coming to events, not just catching it on live stream or Zoom. And so, yes, I think that's a hurdle for everyone in the entertainment business. But I do think we're headed back. I think we're on the right track. And, again, this is a great event to come on out to. That's for sure.
On the men's side, the Southern Conference has been through a little bit of a transformation here. You've seen some coaches, get larger opportunities at larger schools. You got Steve Forbes that is obviously at Wake Forest. Now it's his second year there. Wes Miller has moved on from UNC Greensboro to Cincinnati. I feel pretty certain that there are other coaches in the Southern Conference, not going to name any names that could be moving on to bigger opportunities pretty soon. But to me, I guess I'll say it this way. Tell us how that is for you guys, being one of the top mid-major conferences in college basketball and continuing the tradition of winning basketball and being able to replace guys like that move on.
Yeah, I think that if you end up having a lot of coaches that people want at a higher level, then you're doing something right. And obviously, in our case, you go back last 4 or 5 years, I mean, our conference has really evolved into a top mid-major conference. And those things will happen as teams win. And our conference has a lot of respect nationally. One of the reasons why I think we have been successful in men's basketball is the great coaches that we've had. And yet, even if some of those have been given opportunities, we're right back in the top 12, this year in terms of performance. And so I just think we just keep building on it. You have a number of institutions that have invested into facilities and operational budgets and salaries to help maintain and grow what we do. I think the goal is that, if you look at any successful conference at our level, those things are going to happen. But it's a great place to be. Our conference is strong. Other coaches that, have an interest to want to be a head coach in our league. And so as far as I'm seeing is that, we're continuing that trend of success, despite from time to time losing a coach to a higher level program. We're just keeping moving forward, and I think the future still looks very, very bright for us in all areas.
Joining us again here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, the Commissioner of the Southern Conference, Jim Schaus. It's a pleasure, sir. We'll be talking to you again. I'm sure we're going to have you on the program whenever we do our show live from the tournament itself, but we appreciate it. Glad you guys are back for another year at the Harrah Cherokee Center, Asheville, and can't wait to see the basketball.
Yeah, it'll be great. Well, we look forward to seeing you and encourage everyone to head on out to Cherokee Center this year. Should be a fantastic tournament. Don't miss it. SoConHoops.com. Check it out. Thanks so much.
Great segue. Thank you, sir. Always the professional. He did it for me. I don't even have to throw out the website now. That's Jim Schaus, the Commissioner of the Southern Conference. I cannot wait. I'll say it again. I think UT Chattanooga is one of the best mid-major programs in college basketball. They're not quite in the top 10 of mid-majors, but they're right on the outside of it, and Furman ain't too far behind. Bob Ritchie is one of the best coaches in college basketball, and I didn't want to throw the commissioner, a hard one there, but he was the one. He's the one that I wasn't naming. Bob Ritchie's going to be a big-time head coach in college basketball here real soon, like we've seen Wes Miller do, like we've seen Steve Forbes do. He is going to be next in line for that. Let's get weird.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
First off, I have to apologize if I hurt anybody's feelings for saying this, but I did not know that the USFL was still a thing. I know the new league, the Fox League, they've claimed the names, they've claimed the name, the USFL and all of that, but it's not actually the entity that it was in the 1980s. I didn't even know that still existed, but apparently it does, because the original USFL is suing the new USFL, and they're claiming, obviously, trademark infringement. You've taken the USFL name. You've named all of your teams after retro teams from those the 2 seasons that we had the USFL back in the mid '80s. The original USFL has filed a lawsuit, and they are claiming that they don't have any rights to the league name, the logos, the uniforms, any of that, and it's all spearheaded by Larry Zonka, of all people. Yeah, I didn't know. Like in 1985, 86, was he a big dog in the USFL? I was 3 years old, so I have no idea.
I have not even the foggiest of a clue.
Right, Larry Zonka, though, and the real USFL LLC. I feel like that's a new thing.
Oh, that's certainly a new thing.
Right, like the real USFL LLC. This thing did not exist before Fox announced their relaunch, and that's what they're taking issue with. That has nothing to do with the original USFL, but now Fox has basically just co-opted all of that stuff from the 80s, and you can't do that if all of those trademarks are owned. This was just reported today, so I haven't been able to look into any legal documents or the complaint or anything like that. But Larry Zonka and the real USFL LLC, they are trying to stop this before it gets going. And they might have a case. May not. I don't know.
Well, based on their history of suing with things, I wouldn't count on it. Last time they got $1.
That is true. Very true.
Bethany K. Farber is an esthetician in California.
Okay.
And she just went through and the actual scenario was a while back, but it's coming to fruition now. She was waiting to board a flight to Mexico in Los Angeles. And she goes through TSA. She gives them all of her documents. And they come back and say, Miss Farber, there is an active arrest warrant for you in Texas. So they take her into a isolated room. They question her. And then they take her into police custody. She then spent 13 days in a Los Angeles jail.
Oh, no.
There's only one problem.
Yeah.
She's not the Bethany K. Farber they were looking for.
Oh.
This one's actually never even had a parking ticket. So here's where this story really started to run afoul for me. Her mother is how she got out of jail. I guess she was making calls home, telling them what was happening. Her mother sent a picture of her to the prosecutor in Texas who had never laid eyes on this person. They put out a federal arrest warrant, and nobody ever thought that, well, maybe we should take fingerprints or DNA, or maybe we should just verify this is the person we're looking for.
Wait. Does this other person possibly have a driver's license? And is there a place that you can go to look up pictures of driver's licenses?
And I'm gonna level with you. If they had done even a precursory search, the arrested Bethany K. Farber is rather identifiable.
Okay.
She has very identifiable facial features. She has very high cheekbones. She's a very attractive woman.
Mm-hmm.
They won't release a picture, and I have of the actual Bethany K. Farber, and I have a funny feeling it's because they don't look anything alike.
Oh, no.
The worst part is that she contacted the prosecutor. The prosecutor called down to the jail and said, we're dismissing the charges. This is not the person. You should let her go. Took 3 days. 3 more days for you to let her. How is that not top priority? We have a law-abiding citizen here that we have arrested for the crimes that someone else has done. There is to my knowledge, this Bethany K. Farber has done no crimes.
Mm-hmm.
She did exactly what we say every day. The other Bethany K. Farber apparently did crimes.
Mm-hmm.
They are still looking for the one that they were actually after.
So
she is now suing the city of Los Angeles, and by the way, she's going to win.
Oh, good for her.
The saddest part of this story, a week after she was released, her grandmother had a stress-induced stroke and passed.
Oh, no.
That's the worst part of this story. I read this whole story. I'm not going to lie. I had another story that one was funny. This one is in no way funny. As you were talking to Commissioner Schaus, this came across my desk, and I went, well, I'm telling that.
Right. God.
Oh.
I hope it's worth it. I mean, I hope whatever she can get out of the city of L.A. will be phenomenal.
Oh,
we'll make up for those 13 days.
I would say it's going to be quite the sizable compensation.
David Smith, Armchair Commentary, says in the comments here on the YouTube stream, thesportsocracy.com. Click on the live video link. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button while you're there. Armchair says he actually got detained by U.S. Customs agent thinking that he was a different David Smith. First off, David Smith, my apologies, because that is the most common name other than John Smith in the world.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. My name, reasonably common.
Yeah, lots of Jeremy Greenes.
Trust me, I sent I'm actually in a Facebook group with a bunch of Jeremy Greenes.
Are you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And I don't know this because I haven't gone profile by profile. Not a lot of high achievers in that group, from what I have noticed.
Not shocked.
Anyhow, not any council people or politicians or judges.
He said he was held coming off of a cruise for 8 hours. He had his ID on him, everything, and they didn't believe him. They didn't believe that there was somebody else out there with the name David Smith.
I would be irate, I think is the only way that...
And he says the guy they were looking for was actually Samoan.
If you've ever watched any of our coverage with Armchair, I don't believe that he is.
He looks like Pat Matricia. That's exactly who he looks like.
He looks like Pat Matricia if he had lost a considerable amount of weight.
Yes. But he's got all the Patriots gear on. The only thing he needs is the pencil behind his ear. And David Smith would look exactly like Matt Patricia. Oh, sorry for that, buddy, because that's one of my biggest fears.
Jail?
Just being arrested. Just being arrested and going to jail is like one of my biggest fears.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm good.
Yeah, you ever seen Shawshank Redemption? Did you see what happened to the pudgy guy that showed up? Nope. Ever since I saw that movie, I went, not this one.
No good can come from anything I'm going to say, so we should move on.
Not this puffy dude right here. All right, since we are not going to have a program tomorrow, we had to move this one up here. It is time for something to chew on with Caleb Peak as we head into the 2022 Ingles SoCon Basketball Championships. Again, starts on Thursday. Wraps up with the men's championship on Monday, all at the Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville. Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships. Get your tickets today at SoConHoops.com. Here's Caleb.
All right, and filling out the first portion of the East region, the Florida Gators out of the SEC. Coach Mike White, SEC Coach of the Year, 24-8 for the Gators, and they will meet number 13 East Tennessee State, the Buccaneers, with a 27-7 record on the year after sharing the Southern Conference regular season title. They won the conference tournament title.
This time of year, it just means more. I'm Caleb Peak. This is Chew on That, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. And with Selection Sunday lying in wait only 12 days away, the message is as clear as it's ever been. Winning is everything. That audio you just heard was from Selection Sunday 2017 when Southern Conference champions East Tennessee State got to hear their name called live on CBS. Win and you're in. That's the way it ought to be. Back then, picking a SoCon tournament champion was much less daunting of a challenge. Wofford, ETSU, and UNC Greensboro were the easy breakaway favorites, with Furman and Chattanooga usually lurking not far behind as legitimate dark horses. In fact, since 2014, picking a tournament champion has been almost formulaic. Each of the last 7 SoCon tournaments has been won by the regular season champion, including the 2016-17 season, which saw ETSU, Furman, and UNC Greensboro finish tied atop the season standings at 14-4. Of course, ETSU won that tournament, their first since 2004, and their second of 3 straight appearances in the SoCon final. It's amazing what a good head coach can do for you. But here in 2022, this is a different animal entirely. Of the 10 programs competing in the Southern, 5 of them have a legitimate shot at punching their ticket to the dance by hoisting the plaque right here in Asheville. Obviously, Chattanooga stands alone at the top with no regular season games left. The Mocs at 14-4 in conference play were the first of the SoCon schools to hit the 20-win mark and the only one to exceed 20 wins. They're standing at 24-7 overall as we speak. Samford and Wofford are tied for third in conference at 10-8, with Samford claiming the tiebreaker and the 3 seed with a superior overall record. We covered Wofford last week under up-and-coming head coach Jay McCauley, and the Terriers have only gotten better since then as they ride a 2-game winning streak into Harrah's Cherokee Center, Asheville. For Samford, it's been blue skies ahead ever since Bucky McMillan became head coach in April 2020. It's proof positive that experience may mean something, but it's not everything. McMillan had never coached at a higher level than high school, but what he did really, really well, winning 5 Alabama state titles in 12 seasons at the helm of Mountain Brook High. And even on a down year like UNCG is going through now, at 9-9, this is a team that could absolutely steal a couple of wins in the tourney if the ball bounces their way. But you may have noticed I've skipped the 2 seed. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about those Furman Paladins, and neither will anyone else once the confetti falls on Monday night. Sure, numbers, stats, and rankings tell a huge part of the story when it comes to figuring out how we got here. Top seed Chattanooga scores 75 points per game, a massive figure in the college basketball landscape. They shoot almost 50% from the floor and make 75% of their free throws, a stat that's physically won at least 2 conference games for them, both 2-point dubs against Furman and Mercer, one home, one on the road. But for Bob Ritchie's Paladins, the mantra has got to be, what have you done for me lately? It's no secret that for a solid week in early February, Furman was in a serious funk. 3 straight losses over 7 days' time to UNCG, ETSU, and Chattanooga had Purple and White Nation searching for answers with tournament time looming large. Since then, Furman's closed out the regular season slate, taking 3 of their last 4 games, surviving a furious comeback by Wofford to hang on by a single point. While Furman isn't technically riding a streak into the tournament like Chattanooga, the winds of change are blowing in Greenville. Sure, the Paladins have taken their lumps this season, from that 3-game skid in February to a last thing we needed type of scenario, losing a nationally televised matchup with ETSU, who snapped a 5-game losing streak of their own on the same night. But since then, this team has congealed. Furman comes into Asheville averaging virtually 80 points per game. That's the only major stat category where the Paladins beat the Mocs. But what I'm paying close attention to over the next week are the intangibles, the things that aren't calculable at the scorer's table. I'm looking at the fact that Chattanooga has dominated most opponents at the mid-major level, but not one Power 5 opponent showed up on the mock schedule. Furman, on the other hand, has some bad conference losses this year, but they also have wins over both Louisville and App State. The ability to perform on the biggest stage is there, and this could be the biggest kicker of all. Both Chattanooga and Furman are 0-0 on neutral courts. The trip to Asheville from Chattanooga is about 3.5 hours. From Greenville, let's put it this way. Greenville is in the same media market as Asheville. It's an hour away if you drive the speed limit. With Western Carolina and ETSU both on down seasons, Furman automatically becomes the de facto home team for this tournament. Expect for Paladin Nation to make a lot of noise over the next week. This is why I'm taking the 2-seed Furman to win the 2022 Ingles Southern Conference Men's Championship. A good basketball team will stumble from time to time, but this is a program that's been kicked while they were down. Now that they're getting up, can Chattanooga stem the tide? We'll find out Monday night on ESPN. I'm Caleb Peak. That's something to chew on.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Overall, interstate's moving well and problem-free on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. Traffic is busier on the westbound side. Smoky Park Highway, no delays. Patton Avenue moving problem-free. New Leicester Highway, no backups. Merriman Avenue moving well, and Biltmore Avenue, no delays. Sweeten Creek Road southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road, traffic is slowing. Hendersonville Road, incident-free. Checking the drive time from Bent Creek to Avery Creek via NC 191 southbound. Drive time 9 minutes. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by WhatsApp. No one should read your personal messages. That's why WhatsApp uses end-to-end encryption. It protects whatever you send before, during, and after you send it. So no one, not even WhatsApp, can read your messages. Always message privately. WhatsApp.
Asheville, Monsters of Rock and Roar Wilson. March 18th and 19th, Monster TNT explodes into the Egg Center. Here they come, metallic monsters and raw horsepower, starring the high-flying school bus called Higher Education. 3 monster shows. Tickets now at MonsterTNT.com or buy at Allen's Jewelry and Pawn for free pit passes. Monster TNT, the Egg Center.
If you're suffering every day with joint pain, stop and listen. You can get real lasting relief now with the natural biologic treatments of QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative solutions that can restore and repair damaged tissue with no surgery and no drugs. This is the relief you've been hoping for your aching hips, knees, shoulder, and lower back. The unique protocols at QC Kinetics were created by a physician with years of study in regenerative restorative medicine. They're treating patients every day in hundreds of clinics nationwide with remarkable success, life-changing results with zero downtime. It's the new, better, smarter, non-surgical, non-invasive way to deal with joint pain. And yes, they're right here ready to help you now. Call for a free consultation. Make this spring and summer your best ever with no joint pain holding you back. QC Kinetics, located in Asheville and Greenville. 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517.
When you need a taco, you need a taco. Try the new Cantina Crispy Chicken Taco from Taco Bell with your choice of creamy chipotle or avocado ranch at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time. Contact local store for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
20,000 bonus points, 18.99% variable APR, and a $32 statement credit when you spend $200 before your dog's 8th birthday.
Credit card ads have all sorts of numbers, but they mean nothing to you if you don't get approved. So here's Credit Karma's number, 66. Like members who shop on Credit Karma get approved 66% more often than the national average. Now that's a number you can rely on. Credit Karma. Applied with Karma Confidence.
Member approval rates in 2021, 66% higher than 2020 CFPB national average.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
The madness begins here. Make sure you're at the Harrah's Cherokee Center in Asheville, North Carolina, March 3rd through 7th for the Ingles 2022 SoCon Basketball Championships. You don't want to miss the action as your favorite SoCon teams compete for a championship and a berth in the NCAA tournament. Book your travel and tickets by logging on to SoConHoops.com or by contacting the Harrah's Cherokee Center Asheville box office. The madness begins in Asheville. Get your tickets today.
Welcome back into ESPN Asheville. Jeremy Greene, Flostradamus, lay some winners on us here.
Oh, 2-1 last night. Profitable night. Try to do it again tonight. Got 3 picks for you. Got 50 on it on all 3 of them. First one, the Raptors are a 9-point favorite tonight against Brooklyn. Or at least this somewhat of a wearing the Brooklyn Nets jerseys replica of a team that they are putting on the floor. They ran this team off the court last night in Brooklyn. What do you think they're going to do to them tonight in Toronto? Scotty Barnes was tremendous. Brooklyn has no answer for him. Fred VanVleet might be back tonight. OG Anunoby almost certainly will be. I got 50 on it. Toronto Raptors minus the 9 over the Brooklyn Nets. Next, the Detroit Pistons are a moneyline dog plus 140 at the Washington Wizards. This Washington team is not good. They're one of the 4 worst teams in the league, period. I understand it's in Washington. That hasn't really meant much since all of the trades went down, and now this Washington Wizards roster has been gutted. The problem is that now they don't have anybody who can play any defense. Nobody can stop Cade Cunningham. I love him as a DFS play tonight. I love the Detroit Pistons. I got 50 on it. Detroit Pistons, money line over the Washington Wizards. Finally, look, you call this a gut call. Providence is a 10-point dog tonight at Villanova, and that is ridiculous. When I saw it, I thought somebody hit the wrong button when they set the line. I'm going to be honest. I think Providence is a better team. I know they've had some luck, and they haven't had the greatest history of covering spreads. This number's too high. If you want to play the safe side, take Providence plus the 10. Me, I like to live dangerously. Give me Providence plus 440 in the money line against Villanova. What that means, if you bet 100 U.S. doll hairs, and I'm right, you will win $440. I got 50 on it. Providence in the money line.
And, of course, you can take those wagers to betus.com. BetUS.com. Use the promo code Sportsocracy and get a 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in up to $2,500.
If you want to play it safe, I love Providence minus 10. It's probably my favorite college basketball line all year. I'm going to live a little more dangerously to try to make all the monies. Give me the Friars.
All right, that'll wrap it up for us on this Tuesday afternoon. No show here on ESPN Asheville tomorrow because of UNC Asheville basketball. We'll tip all of the coverage off for you there of the first round of the Big South Tournament at 1:30 tomorrow here on ESPN Asheville. Tip of UNC Asheville and Charleston Southern coming up at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We do have the happy hour coming up next on the YouTube stream. Go to thesportsocracy.com.
This is your Exergent Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, an uphill climb to the numbers and some beautiful early March weather unfolding for the Carolinas. High pressure in charge. It's not until the weekend that we bring the cloud cover back into our forecast. Low tonight, 34. Sunshine Wednesday, high 68. We're up into the 70s for Thursday. And then increasing clouds Friday night and for the weekend with some clouds in and out of the forecast, 60s and 70s this weekend. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Real credit card questions require real people. Someone who understands your issues and works to resolve them with you. That's why Discover offers helpful, U.S.-based representatives. Available 24/7. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
This is your time-saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Overall, interstate's moving well and problem-free on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. Traffic is busier on the westbound side. Smoky Park Highway, no delays. Patton Avenue moving problem-free. New Leicester Highway, no backups. Merriman Avenue moving well and Biltmore Avenue, no delays. Sweeten Creek Road southbound approaching Mills Gap Road, traffic is slowing. Hendersonville Road incident-free. Checking the drive time from Bent Creek to Avery Creek via NC 191 southbound. Drive time 9 minutes.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. When you need a taco, you need a taco. Try the new Cantina Crispy Chicken Taco from Taco Bell with your choice of creamy chipotle or avocado ranch at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time. Contact local store for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy here in the Ingles Studio. I'm Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene alongside as always. Welcome into the happy hour, folks. Tuesday happy hour here, and that means it's a Top 13 Tuesday. We're going through every position group in the NFL draft, the top 13 at every position in the 2022 NFL draft, and Jeremy's top 13 safeties on tap for today's happy hour.
This is a position I really like in this draft. There are a lot of, depending on what you're looking for, there's not a ton of over-the-top, really rangy safeties. I know Jalen Peter has generated some interest. I don't get it.
Petrie.
What'd I say?
Peter. His name ain't Peter.
I read it off. It's on the screen.
His name ain't
Spell
Peter.
Your name right, for the love of Jehovah.
Look, I thought it was Petre.
I did too.
Because there's several baseball players throughout history that have been Petre, P-I-T-R-E, but no, it's apparently Petrie.
Petrie.
Yeah. Peter.
I'm going to call him Peter. His name's Jalen Peter from here on out. I said that completely by accident.
And now he's Jalen Peter forever.
That's one of the only names I've actually looked up this year because I could not figure out how to say it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like looking up names. Mainly because I don't care. I give a fuck less what your name is.
Oh, I care. And that's why I do all of the pronunciation lookups.
Your name could be Jack Me Off Chuckle Smith. I don't care. Can you play Dead in the Western? That's all I give a shit about.
That's all I care about. All he cares about. Before we get into the top 13 safeties, though, breaking news from the sports world, there will be no deal. And it looks like the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, coming to the podium right now to announce that the opening day for March 31st will be canceled. They had a deadline of 5 o'clock this afternoon to get a new deal done with the Major League Baseball Players Association. And guess what? The owners made their quote-unquote best offer, and the players were like, no, not doing it.
Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, the owners said...
I'm broke as shit, and I don't mind saying it.
Yeah, I've been waiting to do that for...
And if we
I've been waiting to do that for a solid 2 hours.
And if we have to cancel 900 games like we did back in 1994, they may...
Never going to financially recover.
Exactly, they may never financially recover.
I do like you set me up for that, and I was already planning on doing it anyway.
So hopefully it will not come to that for Major League Baseball, but like I say, the commissioner is at the podium right now, and he is expected to be making the announcement that, yes, opening day will be canceled because they did not meet the 5 o'clock deadline today.
I am vaguely sure, not positive, but I'm vaguely sure that Rob Manfred's opening line is going to sound something like,
"Put the bunny back in the box."
I love sound effects. God, I love sound effects.
Classic Clay in the comments says, "What does that mean for the league?"
Who the fuck cares?
I mean, they're going to miss some games.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
I mean, and who's real? I mean, are you devastated by that?
Like,
we're not going to have 478 baseball games.
Right.
Okay.
I said this the other day. Like, has nobody noticed that there's not been, like, I mean, I get people are upset that there's a lockout right now, that we're not having spring training like usual. You know, we missed the pitchers and catchers report deadline, 3 weeks ago. But I've seen no baseball fans that are like, oh no, we got to cut the season short. 162 games is just too much.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's just way too much. And if you miss a few weeks of the season, fine. Now, if we end up in a situation like we did where the lockout continues or the disagreement continues and we start having to talk about, 80-game seasons and stuff like that, then it's going to get pretty interesting.
Yeah, here's the thing. The problem with baseball is that they're two children arguing with each other with no resolution in sight.
Yeah.
What are you mad about? I'm mad. Okay. Well, what are you mad about? I'm mad too. What are you mad about? Everything.
Everything.
I do.
Everything. base pay, tax structures, all the things that none of the fans give a shit about.
Advertisements on the helmets. We can't get that right either. Go away.
They are apparently, if a deal gets done though, going to do a lottery for the first 5 picks of the draft, which
yeah, it's weird. Yeah. There's only one super relevant sport, and it's the one that will now not do a draft lottery.
Huh.
Have you ever noticed that nobody ever bitches about that in the NFL? Nobody ever goes, oh, it's such. And I would argue that tanking would be if it was a problem, be a bigger problem in the NFL than it is anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's no position in any sport that matters more than a franchise quarterback.
Right.
And nobody cares. Why could that possibly?
Frankie Cleary makes a great comment of, baseball's been such in a downward trajectory lately that the strike goes too long, it will hurt. And yes, it will. I mean, there are some of us that will never turn away from baseball. We've already been through 5 work stoppages, I think, in my baseball watching career, and I keep going back. But baseball's problem is they need new people.
Yeah,
and new people are completely turned off by this.
As well you should be.
By this lockout talk.
As well you should be.
Of course.
Because it's completely stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's not completely stupid? Oh, shit. I should have had that button pulled up.
Mm-hmm. That's right. The 2022 NFL Draft, it ain't no joke, and there ain't going to be no work stoppages in the NFL because they do business right. Let's talk about the top 13 safeties in this 2022 class as projected here, chosen by our very own Flostradamus, Jeremy Greene. First up on the list, we start at the bottom and work our way to the top.
Started from the bottom. Now we're here.
All right, the number 13, excuse me, not the number 1. The number 13 on the 2022 draft class of safeties here. It is Troy Polamalu's nephew, Isaiah Pola-Mao. There you go. Isaiah Pola-Mao from, of course, USC.
And I'm going to be really honest with you. This would be, if this was 10 years ago, he's still a draftable player, but the way the league is built now, I have a funny feeling that a team's going to take him in the 4th round and just pour time in him, and he's going to be a great linebacker in this league. He's not very good in coverage, and by not very good, I mean real bad. But he's a 6'4", 205-pound linebacker that runs a 4.55. If he comes out in blisters at the combine, which I think is a possibility, then he could even go higher than this. The thing about him is that it's very obvious he comes from a very athletic family because his instincts are insanely good. The problem has been physical limitations. All right, it's hard for a safety in the NFL to play over the top at 6'4". What do I say about USC prospects constantly in the Clay Helton era?
The coaches didn't get enough out of them.
They're not coached well.
Yeah.
Technique is lacking. I mean, it's borderline bad. His tackling technique for a guy that's this big is incredibly inconsistent. I cannot get away from the idea that Bill Belichick is going to find a way to end up with this kid. 4th, 5th round-ish pick, and a lot of its own potential. The tape does not lend itself to this grade. If a team takes him with the intention of making him a strong safety, I think you're going to have a problem. I look at Divine Diablo last year, Hampton Cyril Dean with the Jets. There are a slew of these guys that they were safeties in college. They're thin to play linebacker. He's going to have to bulk up. He's only about 205 pounds. I see him playing about 225, still having 4.6-ish speed. Now he is a hyper-athletic linebacker as opposed to being a athletic deficient safety. I absolutely love this kid. So one of the things that we will do in the offseason is an idea that we had last year and we just didn't have the facilities to nurture it, is the expansion 33rd team. I will level with you. This is a kid that you very easily could see on the team that I construct.
All right.
Because I am drunk in love on him.
Yeah.
It's very specific, the box that you have to put him in.
Some shoulder injuries throughout his college career could be a red flag for teams.
And I'm glad you said that because I firmly believe the reason is because he plays with such reckless abandon and his technique was so bad. That's what happens to really big safeties that don't tackle with sound technique. You lead with the shoulder, and then all of a sudden you have shoulder problems. You know what fixes that? A New England Patriot scheme, a really high-level defensive scheme that sees that you're not a kid that should be impactful in your first year. He can play on special teams. I think he'd be a great gunner on kick teams. But I got to teach you the intricacies of playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
Beauty is, I'm going to change your position anyway. So I don't care that you're not technically sound as a safety. None of it really matters to me because I'm going to completely overhaul everything you have ever known about this game. But I can't teach you to be as instinctual as he is.
Yep. Teach you how to be a headhunter. I like it. How about number 12 on your list? And again, the colors only mean guys that Jeremy's a little higher on than the rest of the industry. Sterling Weatherford out of Miami of Ohio. Not many people watch MAC football. Tell us about Sterling Weatherford.
Hey, he's every bit as big as Isaiah Polamalu and faster.
Ooh.
Another super raw player. Not great in coverage. He's a little better than Polamalu. But I see him. I'll tell you who this kid reminds me of. And this is going to be a weird comparison that I have him on a top 13 list. And this experiment went so badly.
Okay.
Tanner Muse. You remember when the Raiders took Tanner Muse in the third round and they just went, I can't teach a kid to be this athletic. Well, the problem is that Tanner Muse could get lost in his own head. So there was no knack for the ball. There was none of that. The problem with Sterling Weatherford is he's built like a linebacker. He's 6'4", 230. This would be a giant safety, and he played free safety at Miami, Ohio, which is just dumbfounding to me. He's rangy enough. I could see him running a stupid time at his pro day. And when I say a stupid time, I mean my projection on field in equipment on him is 4.5. So I could see him running 4.4, and then he just shoots up boards. And that's what happened to Tanner Muse, is that when you're drafted in the third round, you were expected to contribute very quickly. Well, Tanner Muse had absolutely no football IQ whatsoever. Sterling Weatherford does have that. He just kind of has the same problem of he gets washed out in the run game because he's not as strong as you'd like him to be, as big he is. Good thing, I can bulk him up to 250, and he's still one of the fastest linebackers in the league. And now he is one that I actually could see playing strong safety in the league if he bulks up.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds weird to say that a 230-pound safety needs to bulk up. He's just not strong enough. You get this kid in an NFL strength and conditioning program, the raw of him is intoxicating. Problem is right now he's a little bit more athlete than he is football player. But you get him in the right system, and he could be a very high-level value. I think worst-case scenario, he's your ace gunner for the next 5 years. I mean, this could be a kid that makes Pro Bowls as a special teamer just off the raw, unbelievable athleticism. There's not many people that are built like this that are this athletic.
At number 11, it's old Peter. Old Jalen Petrie from Baylor.
Jalen Peter. I don't get it. Okay, and I know you know this kid reasonably well, so maybe you can explain it to me. I don't get what everybody else sees.
I think it's just he flashes so much athletically that people go, well, he's not going to have much of a learning curve once he gets into the league.
But here's the problem. What did he flash doing at Baylor? He was great against the run.
Mm-hmm.
He's 190 fucking pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Name me a safety in the NFL that's a high-level run defender at 190 pounds.
Yeah, could you imagine him going up against Derrick Henry?
Could you imagine him? Just imagine him as the in the box, because he's a strong safety. I think athletically he fits better as a free safety, and that's what people are seeing as a projection. And you're just going so further deep because he's not good in zone.
Mm-hmm.
So not only is he going to be drafted too high for me, I have a 5th round grade on Jalen Petrie.
Yeah.
Peter. Damn it. Petrie.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. Because my fear is that he's going to be drafted because he's so good in run support, and then you go into the NFL and you're the smallest safety in the damn league. 6 foot, $195. He is freak fast.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see how the way that he plays the game translates. Now, here's the one thing that I I could potentially see him being, and I could be wrong, if you play him in that Tyrann Mathieu role, where he just moves all over and you never know exactly where he's coming from. He can line up in the slot. He can play some slot corner. And then you just move him all around and use his athleticism. Okay, now I get it. Because Tyrann Mathieu's not a big guy either. And that was the big knock on him, was that he's going to get washed out. And okay, you start moving him around the formation, now maybe I get it. I feel like there's already a guy in this draft class that does that. So if that's what you're looking for, there is a way more finished product than what Jalen Petrie is right now. I just think it's going to take some time. He played linebacker a lot at Baylor. I want you to think about what I just said. At 190 pounds, he played linebacker in the Big 12.
But he could still bring the hammer with his small frame. And so that's what they're thinking. Is like, I get this kid in here, and you always like to talk about the strength and conditioning programs. Man, if I can get this kid some weight, he's going to be a phenomenal strong safety.
That's another part. My fear is that you bulk him up and then you take away the athletic advantage.
Yeah.
I don't want you to bulk him up. I need him to learn, and this is going to get weird because I'm getting ready to compare him to a guy that I really liked, and I'm not as sold on this. Now, this is a kid that I could be convinced on. I actually feel like I'm kind of convincing myself of it as I'm saying it. He cannot come into the league and play the way he did at Baylor and expect to be a contributor really to any degree. The Big 12 is just different. The linemen are, in large part, the linemen are smaller. It's a very finesse, very spread league. The Baltimore Ravens would run down this kid's throat. They would take his lunchbox, eat the sandwich, crumple the chip wrapper up and shove it up his ass, and then blow their nose on the note from mommy. I don't understand how you're going to be that deficient. And I'm not saying there's a lot of teams that do that. You could not put him on the field against that team. So now it becomes that, and that's one of my rules. If I can't explain how you're going to be a good player in the NFL in 1 to 2 sentences, you're not for me. At least not where he's going to go. Hell, I've seen him in the back end of the first round. Like, what? I've seen him go over Daxton Hill, which is just stupid. And I think that I might be too low on this kid.
Yeah.
Because he is instinctual, and he's very, very smart.
God, he's good.
He's so smart. I can't figure out how he's going to play this way, the way he's built. Because I feel like NFL offensive linemen are just going to wash him out. So if there's one player in the safety class that I could be wrong, it's this one. I'm just afraid he's going to go too high.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the 10 spot here on the top 13 safeties of the 2022 NFL draft class, as chosen by our very own Flo Stradamus. It is Brian Cook, the safety out of Cincinnati.
This is a guy I'm higher on than the vast majority of the industry. 6'1", 210. He's just a hammer. This dude plays pissed off at all times. The thing that makes me a little nervous is that athletically he is not as gifted as you would want him to be. If the instincts and the drive and the body of Brian Cook had the athleticism of Jalen Petrie, he'd be the number one safety in this class, not named Kyle Hamilton. The problem is that neither one of them had that side. I don't see that just pissed off, hard-nosed side with Jalen Petrie. I don't see that great athlete in Brian Cook. But here's what I do see. I see a guy that can play strong, that can play strong safety in the league. He's going to have an attitude. He's going to be a guy you don't want to go across the middle on because he will absolutely lay the pipe to you. And it's the kind of player I love. He can play linebacker in this league, and I don't think it would be that big of a deal, even as small as he is, because he plays so aggressive. The athletic things are going to be a problem.
Do you think inexperience will play into it for anybody? I mean, he didn't play a whole lot before this past year.
Yeah, he played 20. I mean, he played 2 full years.
But I'm saying he didn't really get an opportunity to shine and start until this past year.
All right, so I'm glad you said that because this gives me an opportunity to something that we're going to do over the draft period. Of a Jeremy fun fact.
Okay.
So there's a Malcolm Gladwell book called The 1,000-Hour Rule. And I think it's actually the 4,000-Hour Rule. If you do something for that amount of time, you eventually become a master of it.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
I have a rule. It's called the 1,000-snap rule. If you play 1,000 snaps in college football, I can no longer say that you're inexperienced. I don't care. I don't care if you did it in 10 games. And I understand the logistical problems of that. But once you've played 1,000 snaps, I pretty well have seen what you're going to be.
Okay.
Very rarely, and there's a guy later in this class that this kind of comes up with too, and I'll get into that when we get there. Once I've seen you play to this point, I at least know the foundation of what you are. There are players that are going to go in the first 2 days of this draft that haven't played 800 snaps in their careers. There's one that hasn't played 600 snaps in his career. He's going to go in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
That's where bust comes in, because you have not seen enough tape of this kid. All right, I'll give you an example. If you nor I are consistent writers, all right, I've written, but I've always had somebody to polish it, to take my cute little turd and shine it up and make it look like a diamond, because I'm not grammatically the best person you've ever met in your life. I could get away with that for 10 or 20 articles. I start doing 5 a day, it's going to become very obvious that I'm not journalistically to that level as a writer.
Right.
That's how I feel about football players a lot.
Okay.
Is that if I see very small doses of you, it's hard to get washed out. I saw Brian Cook against Alabama, and he was fine. He didn't have a great game, but he's good enough. And I just look at that with, I think he's going to be a beginning of the third day kind of guy. And he plays a role that's not as prevalent in today's NFL. I'll tell you who he kind of reminds me of, and I know we have a lot of fans of this of the team that this guy plays for. Kind of reminds me of Von Bell.
Okay.
Of a guy that can play close to the line. You're going to have that deep, rangy Jesse Bates beside him. But if you have that, then he could be a value. Now, you start playing too high with him and asking him to line up on tight ends and shit like that, that's not going to go your way. But in the right system, I think he can be, if not a day one starter, I think he can be a day one contributor that will ultimately be that. If you remember, Von Bell was not the impactful player throughout his career that he was with Cincinnati. Well, it's because he didn't fit. Safeties, more so than damn near any position in this league, can be miscast, and they're just irrelevant. Look how impactful Jamal Adams was with the New York Jets. And now look how he's been just a complete liability with the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, he's still a good blitzer. He still does all those things. Mm-hmm. He always did. Mm-hmm. The only problem is that when he drops in coverage, he's asked to do things that he can't do. The Jets, they knew what he was. They sucked, and they knew we'll have to play 3 over the top, so you can't beat us deep because our corners are brutal. Well, Seattle, the way that system works, they don't do that.
Right.
And it puts him in positions that are not advantageous to him. Brian Cook's one of those players that's going to have to be put in an advantageous position to him to see the most of what he can be.
All right, at number 9, standing 6'1", about 200 pounds, out of the University of Illinois, Kirby Joseph.
I am drunk in love on this guy, and I'm going to be honest with you. It is partially because he was on a defense that sucked, and he didn't. He didn't at all. I think this is one of the best coverage guys in this class. I fully believe he can play free safety in the league immediately. I thought he was going to be one of those little, guys that I can throw out there, and then they end up being an impact rookie, and nobody saw it coming. Well, apparently not. The scouts have gotten a hold of this. Now he's a day 2 guy, almost invariably. Got just enough thump. He's not, the Calvin Pryor type that's just look at it and go, good God, you decapitate people.
Calvin Pryor, does that still hurt you?
I'm going to say this from the depths of my soul. Fuck you. He's a very good blitzer.
Right.
The thing this is the guy I was talking about with the 1,000-snap rule. He barely passed that.
Yes.
He only had one high-level year of tape. Here's why I'll say that does not bother me. He was the only high-level player on a defense that was bad. And he got better as the year went on. I don't love Lovie Smith, new head coach of the Houston Texans, who actually recruited Kirby Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love him, and I don't love his system. There are a lot of things about him I don't love. Here's what I do love. He's super raw. He's super raw because he actually came to Illinois as a receiver. Moved him to safety. Didn't really fit in the Lovie Smith scheme. Fit with Brett Bielema. You put him in the right scheme because he's a very good blitzer too. He's just one that I feel like you're going to find a way to use him. It may not be traditional, but if you have a really good creative coach, you can find a way, because I think he can be he's not a Jamal Adams level blitzer, but he can be one of the better 20% of blitzers from the safety position in the league. And he's good enough in coverage. He will never be a liability at anything. And that's with him being raw as hell. Thing that does scare me a little bit is that he's climbing to such a point that I'm afraid he's going to be asked to be a day one starter, which is not what I really wanted. You can start day one, but I don't really want you to play 85% of the snaps day one. It's more of a sub-package guy to begin with, round into form, get the body right, and then a year from now be penciled in as one of the 22 starters.
All right, that gets us into the top 8 of the top 13 safeties in this 2022 NFL draft class. And, we got one more to go. One more to go before we get to my favorite name in the draft. Number 8, Leon O'Neal Jr. from Texas A&M.
A lot of different grades on Leon O'Neal. I just feel like he's versatile enough. Yeah, he played strong safety at Texas A&M, and there was a lot of high-level tape in zone, but then you just look at him and go, you're way too athletic to be this inconsistent. Doesn't provide much in the way of the run game. So to me, I feel like he fits in that Daxton Hill, Tyrann Mathieu kind of role because he is a good enough hitter. Good as a zone cover guy. My one problem with him is I can't really figure out what – I can't put it in a box. It goes back to that thing I said about if I can't explain how you're a high-level player in 2 sentences or less, it becomes very difficult for me to believe that you will be. And I just look at it and go, you know what? This kid's instincts are so good. And he's one of those – and I don't have a name for this, but I'll come up with one day. If your eye discipline is bad, this kid will fuck your world up because he reads quarterbacks better than probably any player in this class. The only problem is that when you do that, you can be deceived by somebody's eyes really well. And anybody that's really down on him, I feel like the reason that is because you don't have the stare down the receiver in the NFL the way you do in college. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the best things he did was manipulating a quarterback's eyes.
Right.
I did see him get, I'm trying to remember now, he played a ton of snaps. And there was, and I can't remember who it was against, it might have been Alabama, where quarterback drops back, knew exactly how to fucking just ruin him, double move, bye.
Yep.
And as a matter of fact, I'm damn near positive it was Alabama because I think it was Jamison Williams that did it. Tactician, receiver, he just got on that double move.
Mm-hmm.
Going to take some time. There are people that are way too high on him. I've got him as a beginning of the third day, end of day 2 project as an in-the-box safety that, you might have to bulk him up. I'm curious what he runs. If I made a team of the 22 guys I was most curious to see Combine, Pro Day, Underwear Olympics, Leon O'Neal would probably be on that team.
Okay. Very good.
I feel like that was me taking a lot of shots at the kid, not saying that he does anything really well.
It was, but, this is the process. This is the process where you point out these guys' flaws. This is a kid that no doubt could come in and play in the league. I feel like he's a kid that plays the ball really well.
He definitely does.
Right.
A lot of the technical issues that I have with him, I don't think they're going to be a problem in the league because I think he's a strong safety. I don't think it just kind of goes to the same thing I said about Brian Cook. Mm-hmm. You play him in the right scheme, you'll be fine. You try to miscast him as a too high safety guy, well, that's not going to be ideal.
Right.
And he can do some of those things. I just think it's going to really put under a microscope some of the deficiencies that he has.
All right, at number 7.
Your favorite name in the 2022 NFL Draft.
This is my favorite name in the NFL Draft. Quintavious Monday, also known as Smoke.
Smoke.
Smoke Monday. Or Tuesday, or Wednesday or whatever day you want. This kid's going to be really good. Smoke Monday.
He's just, there are some guys you just look at and go, you're so hyper competitive that you're going to be good no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of those. Here is where I think this could be a problem. He's not crazy athletic now. I think his best scenario is a Divine Diablo type role where he bulks up and ends up as a linebacker because he's good enough in coverage. He's a good enough tackler. The problem is he's really thin. Like, for the way he plays, he could be out of the league in 2 years as hair on fire as he plays.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people that don't like this kid at all, and I don't get it. Anybody that plays this hard, I'm invariably going to like them. And he kind of falls into that because anytime you have a player like that, they have a floor of they're going to constantly make rosters as special teams guys. Now, that doesn't work with every position, but it works with linebackers, it works with safeties, and to a degree works with corners. That's kind of where I see him, is that there's no chance that you become a guy that I can't carry on the roster. And the high side of you, if I can bulk you up and put you in the right situation, is I think he can be a starter in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I'm higher on Smoke Monday than the vast majority of people that I've seen.
I think eventually he can become a starter in this league. One of the things I think he will probably struggle with is being over-aggressive.
That will certainly get him, and he's very upright and angular in coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And where that gets you is with somebody like Michael Thomas, who's so shifty. They're such a good route runner that if you're not technically sound, they'll be open just solely because they were so much better technically than you were.
Right.
I can see that getting him into problems. He's so big that, to me, this is kind of an Isaiah Simmons thing, where you're not crazy athletic, but you're good enough. Body frame's really good, but you need to add some weight. And so now it becomes, all right, I got to find a role for you, and he kind of fits into that Joker role. I don't really know what else to call that, but you see guys like Isaiah Simmons do that. You just go, this is one of the 11 best defensive players I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to find a way to use what you do. And I just look at him and go, there's no way that he's not going to be able to defend tight ends in this league. So I don't think he'll ever be a liability. It's just a question of how much refining does he take to get to that point where he can play, 50+% of snaps. I think in the beginning he needs to be in that 35 to 45 range as a sub package kind of guy, especially if you're dealing with bigger tight ends or a bigger receiver, whatever the case may be, because he is very tall. And there's an old saying when I started doing this that there's not many safeties that are over 6 foot tall that can walk and chew gum at the same time. Well, Smoke Monday can do that.
Yep.
And so for me, that makes you a back into day 2, beginning of day 3 guy. And it seems to me that a lot of people that watch our stuff really like this kid.
Yeah.
And I understand why.
He's a motor kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's a motor kid who's very aggressive, but there again, playing in the secondary in the NFL, that can get you in trouble.
That it can.
Right. At number 6, out of Kentucky, Yusuf Corker.
A guy whose name I cannot spell right to save my shit.
Did you do it again?
No,
you didn't.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
you got it right this time.
Yeah, I triple checked it because this is the third list he's been on. I've misspelled his name both of the first 2 times.
Right. Yusuf Corker out of Kentucky. 6 foot tall, under 200 pounds, right around 200 pounds.
This is another instinctive kid that I think is going to struggle to get off blocks in the league. May have to get a little thicker. And I think it's going to take some time. But he's, often I say that there are players that are more athlete than they are a football player. I don't often say that backwards, where I say a player is more of a football player than he is an athlete.
Mm-hmm. This is the
That's exactly what he is. Instincts are good. Big hitter, especially for a guy that played free safety. He's not the guy you're terrified to run towards because he does have some tackling deficiencies. But I think he can be a very good player in the right system. Played free safety at Kentucky. I don't think he's going to play that in the NFL. To me, he's an in the box. Maybe throw some weight on him and try to take the instincts and the football IQ and put it to good use while pulling away from some of the athletic deficiencies.
All right, so not overly speedy.
No. No, and that's the bad thing is that he's one of the smaller safeties in this class, of the high-end guys, and I think he's going to be one of the slower ones. But I'm going to say the same thing I said about him that I said about Polamalu. I can't teach you to be this instinctive.
Right.
It's one of those things you either got it or you don't. And he does. I'm higher on this kid than many other people are.
All right. Yusuf Corker out of Kentucky at number 6.
Can be kind of a poor man's Jaquan Brisker.
Okay.
I could see them having a NFL careers that look similar, but I'll get into why that is when we get to Jaquan.
I was going to say, we haven't talked about him. Oh, he's coming up on the list. Coming up. At number 5.
Oh, shit. We're missing one.
Uh-oh.
We're missing one.
Oh, God.
No.
You fucked up the list.
I fucked it up. Oh, did I fuck up the whole list? Well, shit.
Did you miss like the 1A?
Well, Christian Harris is a linebacker, so it ain't him.
Okay. All right. Well, Christian Harris, not the guy.
It ain't him. Hold on, I got to figure out who I don't have up there. I got to play this backwards. D.
Was it? I want to start guessing names, but that's going to throw it off.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
You just you dance for a minute, and I'll figure out who the hell I'm missing.
Dun, dun,
not literally dance. Yep, that's not. Nope, that's not what I meant. No.
Are you entertained yet?
That's not even kind of what I was talking about. and the snapping.
The snapping. It's got to keep me on rhythm.
That is just bizarre.
I do this every time I listen to the Beatles. By the way, just.
I'm sure you do. Sure. There we go. Figured it out. It's Brad Hawkins.
Brad Hawkins,
okay. Free safety out of Michigan.
All right.
I like this guy a lot. 6'1", 210, not overly fast, and I think that could serve to screw him when he gets into the NFL. But in the right system, because he is incredibly versatile. He's played damn near every position, and that's one of the beauties of Michigan defenders, at least over the last couple years, is that they're asked to do so many different things that you can be at least passable in the NFL no matter what kind of scheme you wind up in. And that's where I look at him. The problem with him, and this is one of the only safeties I'll say this about in this class, there are times it almost seems like he kind of fades off into another world. And the bad tape on him, it's either lazy or it's you completely lacked focus. I don't know which one it is. There's some technical problems with him, but there are a lot of technical problems with safeties coming in the league. That can be dealt with. Not ever going to be what I said about several other guys that you can line him up on a tight end. It's not going to be this guy. The question is he good enough against the run, which he is very good, to kind of cover some of the deficiencies? He fits more into that too high safety look because he's going to need somebody to pick him up deep. You put him in a single high, it is going to go aggressively badly. He is one that I do believe. I hope he runs faster than I think he's going to. If he runs 4.65, he'll drop like a rock. Now, if he runs 4.5, then all of a sudden, okay, you're going to need some technical refinement, but there's enough raw there to be, I would say, a 3rd to 4th round pick.
Okay. All right. And not Christian Harris.
No, it's not the linebacker out of Alabama. That would be Brad Hawkins, the safety out of Michigan, that my dumbass forgot to put on the graphic.
Brad Hawkins. All right. Anyway, let's get on to number 4, Jaquan Brisker from Penn State. I've seen a lot of people say that this kid, he might be one of the diamonds in the rough of this draft.
Very well could be, because there's nothing that he doesn't do well. It was a JUCO guy.
Mm-hmm.
Came into Penn State. The thing that makes me nervous, and I'm going to say this about every Penn State guy, it always makes me nervous when you play in a conference that's not great offensively and you have this much talent around you. I mean, do you realize how many Penn State defenders are going to get drafted in this draft?
It's a bunch.
I mean, Ibakite is going to go somewhere from the back end of the 1st to beginning of the 3rd. He has a very wide variation. But you got Jaquan Brisker, you got Brandon Smith. There are a lot of guys that had Micah Parsons up until 2 years ago. It's really easy to cover some of your deficiencies. And the problem that I have with Jaquan Brisker is his eyes. He's not very disciplined with his eyes, and he's not quick to diagnose things either. So you saw all of the things he did at Penn State. How many of those are because he had somebody beside him that he knew he could trust? So he could make the big play because he knew it wasn't going to be a big busted coverage back behind him.
Right.
That makes me a little bit nervous. Now, that being said, he is a freak of nature. He's 6'1", 205, probably going to run the mid 4.4s. Really good in coverage. Thing that makes me a little nervous is will he need to bulk up to hold up against the run, or now he becomes the too high safety guy that you can trust in coverage and he's good enough. The big hulking line teams where he doesn't get eaten up. I could see, and this is going to be a weird comparison because they play two completely different positions. I could see him against the run being a lot like Leighton Vander Esch, that he is as good as what is in front of him. If there's a real good defensive line in front of him, I don't think it's going to be a problem. They occupy blocks. He will close holes in the run game. Problem is, if you ask him to take on a guard, he's going to get completely washed out. He got washed out at times against running backs. So I think there could be a little growing period there. I have him as back into the second round guy. I've seen him in the first. I think that's too high.
Yeah. This is a kid that made you always like to bring it up,
the Bruce Feldman freak list.
The Bruce Feldman freak list, where apparently over the summer he hit a 10'7" broad jump.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
He has I think it's a 36-foot triple jump or something like that. It's just ridiculous.
35.5.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. He's a little short. That makes me a little nervous because one of the best things he does is blanket tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that he will be that in the NFL. I think he can be. He's very technically sound, and I'm just curious if the height will get him. There's more of a switch now in the NFL to where linebackers are dealing with tight ends because linebackers are getting taller and thinner, and safeties are getting smaller. Jaquan Brisker fits into that. Fits into that. It's just that always makes me a little bit nervous, and the Penn State thing makes me nervous.
I'm actually
He's a great
shocked.
player though.
I'm actually shocked you didn't call him Brisket.
Jaquan Brisket.
I know how you always have meat on your mind. Let's get into the top 3 of the top 13 safeties of this 2022 NFL draft class. Oh, man. Yeah, I had a feeling this was going to be 3. You know he's number 1 in my heart from the national champion,
number 1.
Georgia Bulldogs.
You could possibly have a number 2.
No, I don't. But like I said, he's number 1 in my heart. From the national champion, Georgia Bulldogs, Lewis Sin.
He had a phenomenal national championship game, which has pushed him up. I would have had Jaquan Brisker ahead of him before the national title game.
Yep.
But you play that well in the biggest game of your career, and there's a merit to that. He's a very good tackler. Leaves a little bit to be desired in zone at times. But, I mean, there's not many places that I can ding this kid because I do think he can be a single high safety. There's not many in this class that even the top 2, I don't like them as that. But if you play single high safety, I do like Lewis Sin.
All right, Lewis Sin. I mean, he's like a Swiss Army knife. He's just got a lot of tools.
There's nothing that you can really ding him on. He doesn't have that big deficiency in his game, other than the fact that maybe he's a little small. But he does fucking everything. Like I don't really know what I'm supposed to ding him on.
Right. He's really good in coverage. I won't say great because I know how you feel about that word, but he's really good in coverage. I feel like he's a great pass rusher for a safety.
And he's very good at all those things. The problem is that he was never, if there's one thing I can ding him on, is he's not really a ball hawk. He did have the interception in the national title game.
Yep.
That wasn't really what he did at Georgia.
No.
So in single high, that can be kind of a problem. And so he has that one little bit of a deficiency of, I do feel like your biggest drawback is the biggest knock on you fitting in the scheme that you fit in best. But he's so good at everything that to me, he's a beginning of the second round guy. I think 2 and 3 are going to go very close to each other. And some team will be very happy with Lewis Sin.
All right.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't point this out. You got the same problem at Georgia that I have Penn State. Your deficiencies, when you have that much talent, it is very easy to cover a deficiency, especially when you are that much better than damn near everybody you play. I understand they played in the SEC. Georgia and Alabama, we said that from week one. They are clearly the best two teams in the country.
Yes.
And so there was a talent surplus against virtually every team they played.
I may have to go watch that game again tonight. It's just got me all goose pimply just thinking about it. At number 2, he is the no doubt number 2 in the 2022 NFL class of safeties. It's Daxton Hill from Michigan.
The question is, what does he run? This is another one that, I said earlier, if I had an all-combine team, Daxton Hill would be on this.
Okay.
Because he might be the fastest player in this draft class.
Really?
I think he can run. I don't think he can break the record, but I think he can beat 4.3.
Okay.
He is, we were talking about Lewis Sin and Brisker and all these guys that are athletic freaks.
Yep.
No. Daxton Hill's an athletic freak. He can do a little bit of everything. He is one of those analytics guys really like him because he can just do everything. I think he is probably the best slot corner in this class. Better than any of the actual corners. I think he fits there. To me, he is that Tyrann Mathieu type of player that you just move him everywhere. He does everything really well. The one thing that would make me a little bit nervous is, does he get lost in the, washed out by guards because he's only 190 pounds? I'll be honest with you. He's so fast. I don't really care. I don't care. He's a good blitzer. He just does everything well. He is one of those guys that does not get the love, and I don't understand why. Like, I've seen Jaquan Brisker in the first round. I never see Daxton Hill in the first round. That makes zero sense to me. I mean, this is to me, he's fit in Baltimore the entire time. That's where it has always made the most sense, because I think he is a much cheaper version of that Tyrann Mathieu addition that a lot of people seem to want to add to them. And you can just move him all around the formation. He does so many different things. And at the end of the day, there is a lot you can do with a guy that's this damn fast. And he is ungodly fast.
Well, if he runs that fast, you very well could see him pop up into the first round.
I think he could stumble and still beat a 4.4. He is ridiculously fast. And I will say this, he was never a shut down anything. So he never wowed you, in spite of the fact that you knew he was the most athletic kid on every field he's ever been on.
Mm-hmm.
That would make me a little nervous, but I kind of put that back to, it's the Big Ten. There's one 3 yards in a cloud of dust offense in the whole damn conference. So it's one of my favorite players in the draft.
No.
He's one that, hey, Rob! Him! We have 1 billion picks.
And if he does,
love Daxton Hill.
I was going to say, if he does last into the second round, you'd have a chance to get him at the top for your New York Jets. However, I don't know. I don't know that you're going to get there, because I don't think I have seen too many mock drafts that do not have the New York Jets being able to select at number 4 in the draft the number 1 safety in the top 13. It is Kyle Hamilton. He is, or is not, Jeremy, a generational talent at safety.
He's the only generational talent in this class. He is my number 1 player in this class, and it's not even close.
Mm-hmm.
6'4", 220. 6'4", 220. Rangy as hell. Can play in any scheme that you ask him to. His dad was drafted in the NBA draft. Athletic family. I mean, what more do you want? I have said I do believe in the modern NFL he fits better as an off-ball linebacker. But I've also said that I think he could be Ray Lewis level good as an off-ball linebacker. So I've tried to find a team where he doesn't fit. I haven't found one yet.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, he's also got a 41-inch vert.
I was getting ready to bring that up.
I don't know if anybody's mentioned that yet. He's got a 41-inch vert.
No, I was going to say, I don't know. I haven't seen any measurables on him
lately. I don't know if anybody's done that. But when he was in high school, his trainer said he had a 40-inch vertical in high school. So you give him a few years in college, pretty sure Notre Dame, they've got a pretty good strength and conditioning program and all of that. He could probably do much better.
All right, let me just I'll tell you how stupid of a prospect this kid is. I've heard him dinged on two things. One is the med. All right, he had an injury at Notre Dame, cost him half the year. Okay. I mean, if
happens, it's football.
Yeah, you're putting on a helmet and running into a wall 70 times a game. So a little bit of injury history. It's not like it was chronic. It was one injury that happened his junior year. The other thing I've heard him dinged on is, he's not that fast. He's as tall as I am. 220 pounds, which means he's about 35 pounds lighter than me. And he runs a 4.5.
That's pretty damn good.
That's what you're going to ding him on. He's my size and runs a 4.5, and that's slow to you. Okay, tell me you don't have shit without telling me you don't have shit. Because if that's your ding on him, that's fine. To me, no one player in this class, it's not particularly all that close. And I'm sure some will say, he's a tweener. In what fucking world is he a tweener? He'd be the biggest safety in the NFL right now. He's not fast enough. He's going to run a 4.5. Patrick Holt said in the comments 220 is too small for a linebacker. Not now, it's not. Not in this NFL, it's not. There's a handful of them that are 205 and playing a lot of snaps at linebacker. It used to be too small. It's not anymore.
Yeah. The league is changing. The league is getting faster. We've seen with the Joker role coming into play that they want these guys to be lighter and more fleet of foot to be able to keep up with these tight ends that can stretch the field, and you just have to be able to do so many more things at a higher rate of speed in this NFL now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's to me, Kyle Hamilton is the perfect modern day NFL player, and basically anybody that dings him for any of these dumb things that I hear, I just look at it and go,
well, it's like you said, you have to ding them on something. You got to find a flaw in everybody.
I do. You know what? I do have a flaw in Kyle Hamilton.
Okay.
He's not a Jet yet. That's his biggest flaw.
Yet, he says.
Yet. Please. Jets, you have fucked me so many times I just want one guy. We're picking high enough. I'm not overly worried that anybody's going to take him in front of you. Just, okay, get it right. I love this kid.
All right, that's your top 13 safeties for the 2022 NFL class.
We got two questions in the comments. First one, Crazy Blade asked, why is the Oregon player, I'm going to assume he's talking about Kayvon Thibodeau, is dropping top 7 pick in the draft? Do you agree with that? Here's the thing on Thibodeau. All right. And this is going to be a little weird in that the first segment of our show today, we were talking about my love for Zion Williamson. There is a lazy narrative with Kayvon Thibodeau that has seemed to follow him with anybody that's ever been around him. That makes me a little nervous. And I'll be honest with you, I think he's a victim of his own success. He came in as the number 1 recruit in the nation. Spurned USC to go to Oregon. We knew who he was as a senior in high school. And I think the fact that you just rarely ever saw him as Khalil Mack screws him. I think if he had come in as a 4-star recruit and worked his way and we had the tape on him I think he'd be a top 5 pick. Nobody would think twice about it. Is he ever going to be great against the run? No, but I'll be honest with you, most pass rushers aren't, especially at this point. This is such a specialized league at this point. And I look at how many, body frame guys that couldn't have been pass rushers 10, 15 years ago are now. I don't see a lot of bust in Thibodeau. My fear is he goes to a bad team. If he goes to a bad team, could he become disinterested? Maybe. That's I don't know him personally, but that's a reputation that he has had. So that would worry me a skosh. Not much, especially in this draft, where the high side on so many of these guys is just not. I mean, I'll put it this way. There are 10 picks in the top 10, right? Stands to reason. I have 4 top 10 grades in this class.
That's it.
So, yeah, I mean, and there's going to be 6 guys that are not top 10 players going top 10. That's just the way it is. So, are there going to be warts? Yeah. And as time goes on, we'll have we will do a series of draft grades and draft boards, and I'll show you exactly how draft boards in the NFL look and how all these things work. I only have 4 top 10 grades.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's going to be warts on everybody. You know, the Kayvon Thibodeau thing, it's really stupid to me.
Tyler says that people are saying that Kaiir Elam could be a safety at the next level. Obviously, the cornerback out of Florida. He says he doesn't buy it, though. What do you think?
Kaiir Elam is a really difficult breakdown for me. Because body frame-wise, he's tremendous. The good is really good. The problem is that the bad is fucking awful. Now, did that happen because you're in the SEC? Maybe. Did it happen because of the defense? Because I never really bought into Florida's defense. It was never. But then I start going back to previous years where I've had a slew. I've said this about Florida for years, that they're so raw and so talented that they'll go to the NFL and they'll get better. Well, here's the problem. None of them ever do. Ever. First of all, several of them have been drafted by my team. So I can tell you firsthand. Pass rushers specifically, they go to the NFL and die.
Oh. Still sticks in your craw, doesn't it?
He's very raw. I just have always thought he should be better than he is. Now, in terms of can he play safety in the NFL? Yeah, I think he can. You know, his uncle is Matt Elam, that was a first-round pick of the Baltimore Ravens that played safety. Outside of athletically and body frame, there's not a lot of nice that I have to say about him. He's a guy I had in the first round for a time. And then the more I dug into it, the more bad I found. And just could have the original question I was asked, could I see him play safety? Yes, I could. It's going to be a specific scheme. But the reason people say that's because he's built like safety.
Right.
He looks like a safety. And coverage skills leave something to be desired. But I mean, that's probably, I mean, if I had one phrase to sum up Kaiir Elam, it's leave something to be desired.
Well, your original mock draft for this 2022 draft, you had him go into my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And
here's the thing, in that kind of system, I don't mind that.
Okay.
San Francisco, Seattle, the Jets, these Tampa Bay, these teams that want a slightly bigger corner that can drop and athletically, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
I'm with you though. I'd
rather you do it in the second round.
I don't feel like we have good track record with Florida guys. Vernon Hargraves was the last one, and God Almighty, guy. He proved in the Super Bowl, massive dum dum, or was it the AFC Championship?
No, that was in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, when he ran out on the field.
He's not a rocket surgeon. Let's put it that way.
Jeez.
Tyler Cunningham asked or said, I wouldn't be surprised if Derek Stingley drops into the 20s. I wouldn't either. I mean, and the more the scouts get a hold of it, the more of a problem it's going to be that I haven't seen. He had the best freshman year of a corner ever.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is I haven't seen it since. So, you know, that becomes a problem. And there's been injuries and there's been a lot of other things. Now, do I think that it's starting to get over the top? I do. I mean, if you remember when we did corners, Sauce Gardner was my number one corner. And that was a spicy take at the time. Well, it's not a spicy take now. Now the question is, where does Derek Stingley fall in? To me, it's still 2. I mean, it's very close with him and Trent McDuffie.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I'm seeing people put Roger McCreary ahead of him. And Kyler Gordon is the one that I saw that and went, okay, and I'm done reading that because you're a dumb shit. That doesn't make sense. If you put McDuffie in front of him, then okay. I mean, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Stingley's just another one of those guys. I see a smart team taking him. It's going to be one of the smart teams that go, this is stupid, Philadelphia Eagles. I think his floor is one of those back-to-back Eagles picks.
Okay.
I don't really – I mean, could he fall past that? Yes. Because I don't have access to the medical, so I don't know what it's going to say outside of somebody going, hey, here's what it said. If the medical's as bad as some think it could be, then, yeah, he could fall in the 20s.
Coming up tomorrow on in the Sportsocracy here at 3 p.m., we will have no regular show because of UNC Asheville basketball, and I'll be working the game on ESPN Asheville. We will not have a regularly scheduled program, but we will have content for you coming out at 3 o'clock tomorrow. It's going to be a special mock draft because today, Jeremy Patrick Holt, he did see Mel Kiper's mock draft with Ike Mekwonu going number 1 overall. And you want to answer his question real quick? He said, can that happen?
Can it happen? Yes.
Will it? Will Jacksonville make the wrong call on the wrong tackle?
Okay, I need to elaborate on this. Ike Mekwonu has a higher ceiling than Evan Neal does. I don't think it'll ever be as a left tackle. I don't buy it. Now, conversely, I said I have 4 first-round grades or 4 top 10 grades on players. Ike Mekwonu is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I have him as a guard. I have him as a guard on a team that needs to be able to run the ball because he is going to be that road grader, mauler. But then you get into the analytics of people, you know, the analytics people will say, well, guards are not as important as the center and the tackles are. That's not incorrect, but I do think he can be one of the best ones in the league. He's one of the only – all right, let me explain. Let me say it this way, and maybe this will make more sense. There are not many players in this draft that I think can ever be a top 5 player at their position or a top 3 player at their position. Ike Mekwonu is a guy that I think can walk into the league as a top 8 in the league guard the minute he gets in the league. I think he would be a top half of the league right tackle. My fear is that, and I'll use the example I used on the ESPN show today, I could see him having a career like Robert Gallery. He's taken – could I see him going 1? Yeah. I don't think he should, but I could see it. I see a path where he could be taken as a left tackle. It becomes abundantly clear, abundantly early that, oh, hell, we fucked this up. But you took him at 1, so you can't start sliding him around. That becomes problematic. And then eventually he nests on the right side and he's fine there. And then eventually he winds up at guard and people go, well, why did you not do that from the beginning?
Yeah,
because you took him too high.
Right. And if if that happens, you could see a path where he's just going to get his doors blown off for a year before they can move him.
And that's my fear is, you know, in my initial mocks and shit, I had Ike Mekwonu in the mid-teens. Like, and I'll use the same example I said earlier. If you told me definitively that he was going to come into the league, say with the Baltimore Ravens, yeah, that's a home run swing because that's a run-heavy team. He fits it very nicely. All of the things work out there. I just do not see what it is because pass blocking technique is lacking. I mean, he's 6'4", 320. He's super athletic. But I don't know that he's ever going to be a highlight. Mel's explanation of this really pissed me off. He would be a great blindside protector for Trevor Lawrence. You do realize that's the biggest problem in his game right now, right? Like and look, I don't love Evan Neal as a left tackle. I think he's a right tackle. Because speed rushers are going to screw with him. Evan Neal is light years ahead of Ike Mekwonu as a pass blocker right now. Now, that being said, I do not think Evan Neal has the ceiling that Mekwonu does.
Mm-hmm. I can't get away from Andrew Thomas and Ike Mekwonu as the bookends for the Giants,
and that would be lovely. You know, this is going to be one of those classic cases. And look, I was super wrong about Jamar Chase last year. This could be my Jamar Chase of this year. Who the fuck knows?
Or your Rashawn Slater.
Now, see, and you have revisionist history about that. I loved Rashawn Slater,
but not as a tackle.
I did not see him. No, I liked him as a tackle. I liked him as a right. It's the same exact.
Right.
It's the same exact layout.
That was the comparison I was drawing.
He could be a left tackle. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think he would have in probably 90% of the offense of the NFL. He went to the perfect one. You know what's not that? The Jacksonville Jaguars. If Rashawn Slater had gone to the Jacksonville Jaguars last year and had Andrew Norwell's lazy ass standing beside, on every pass play, guess what? We'd be going, well, fuck that up.
Yeah.
It just where you go matters.
Yes.
It's that's very important. The thing about Ekwonu is that he has athletic gifts that are just very rare. Now, the bad thing about that is that I said the exact same thing about Mekhi Becton. Humans are not meant to be 6'4", 320 and run a 4.9. That's what I said about Mekhi Becton. Humans are not meant to be 6'7", 330 and run a 5'1". With the mixture of technique deficiency and the just blind rage he plays with, I could see injuries being a problem. And I think that's would be put under a microscope at left tackle. I'm going to keep using the same analogy that I've been using because the more I say it, I hate comps. If you remember, Robert Gallery couldn't stay healthy on the left side. You know why? Because he played with just this ruthless aggression that he constantly played like every play was to win the Super Bowl. So he lived hurt. Then he wound up at guard, and it made all the sense in the world. I could see that. I could see a very similar career trajectory for him.
All right, so playing on Mel's mock draft, we will have a mock draft. Jeremy will control the AFC teams. I will control the NFC teams. We will be able to call each other to do trades. We cannot trade with ourselves, though.
Nope.
So it's going to be an experiment. We're going to have some fun with it. That'll be coming out on the channel right here on YouTube tomorrow
3 o'clock.
At 3 o'clock. And
I'll
be in
the comments. He'll be working UNCA game.
Right.
I'll be at home in my underwear. So just know that.
I'll be in watching and checking in on the comments in between in between the timeouts of the UNC Asheville game. But again, no ESPN Asheville show tomorrow. UNC Asheville, Charleston Southern in the first round of the Big South Tournament down in Charlotte. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. Thanks for hanging out with us here for our 3-hour little extravaganza. We will be back with you, of course, with the mock draft recorded tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and then back on Thursday. Regular schedule for not only the ESPN Asheville show, but also a Threadbare Thursday in the happy hour. We'll see you next time.